What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of appreciation to Abraham Mohammed, Adam, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, get that in again, Blue Ridge Ranger, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As The Earth, Chow Yun Cat, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Robinson, David Wayne Foster, Daz Studio 68, Edwin Johnson, Owen Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin, Henrik 86, Joshua Balsimo, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life Is Short, Maria Neelads. I can't remember if I've shouted you out. I know you're new, but I'll shout you out again anyway. Pleasure to have you here, Maria, if I haven't done so already. Matt, Missouri Bear, Nagara, Nathan Thompson, Naibai, Qatar Craig, Renee, Rob H, Sally Ballis, Silver Umbrella, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, The Real Gabster, Tina Baker, Tom Herkins, Unbelievable Productions, and Windrider. Got there in the end. So a massive shout out of appreciation to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now we are joined by a fair few people in both G Plus and Discord, so I'll raise the mics on them and you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for the first live show.
And asked him to reveal himself to me. And he did. And I had no mediator other than the Holy Spirit and Jesus. No one sat there and read me anything. No one said, go here, watch this. I did not open the Bible to find God. I prayed and he answered my prayer directly. So I have that. And I had a transformation of my heart and my life. And I'm a witness to it. It was after that that I wanted to see what the Word of God taught about God and reality.
Hello.
Hey, Nathan. Great show yesterday.
Yeah, it's nice and
I love
calm.
I love the little snippet you have out again.
The one today?
Yeah.
Yeah, these double speaking fundies.
Yeah, you really nailed another great summary there. So worth listening to several times and making notes. Just saying. Yep. No R? Yeah. There's no R.
No R, right?
So what happens with no R? Well, if you got no R, you got no sphere.
No celestial observations.
Yep.
Correct. Everything hangs on R.
And we worked it backwards to prove R. We tried to back engineer it to see if it's really there. Well, if it's there, it should have a geometric horizon at different observer heights. And it doesn't.
I think I've said it in the past that like the meat of this debate was in like, I guess, long distance observations, right? It seems like the main claim to curvature was like both going over the curve. It always kept coming up. And now with this argument, they have like no more claim to curvature.
It's not far off. Too much to ask, as you put it, Righteous. Can we see the curve that's supposed to be blocking the boat? We see the boat. We see the bottom missing. Is that the curvature? Is that the geometric horizon? You've been saying it was all these years. Now you're saying that's not?
Now you're...
Well, Which one is it?
Whoever just opened their mic in Discord causing feedback. Darren, John, one of you.
Equatorial mounts are gone too.
Equator's gone. Gravity's
How
gone.
can you
I like it. I like
how
that
can
you're
you track
pointing
the
out.
sun if you don't have a 0 point to start from?
Correct. I like that people are starting to point out the various ancillary globe-related things that all implode based on the Black Swan. And more power to you. Yeah, keep pointing them out. The whole thing implodes from this point in. That's great. So just keep pointing them out. Yeah, you can't do your celestial observations anymore. They're all based on an R value too. So you relinquish your geometry, claim that you've got imaginary curves for things to be going over, and that's the end of your geometry.
Yeah, the horizon had to be geometric for them.
Going to be doing geometry, yeah. You better have a geometric horizon.
Well, they had the model, and they pretended to have math, geometry backing their model. Until enough people woke up to ask good questions and do good observations, like at 1 foot high at Miramar Beach. Now we're finding out all it was a model, not reality. It never existed.
It's all kind of coming to a head. All of the different lines of inquiry and exposés of things that don't work in the heliocentric model have now come to a very fine point, a sharp tip. And this is it. The Black Swan is at the tip of that spear.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to argue Coriolis? First you got to prove you got R. Because when I look outside, I don't see anything rotating.
Or to put it another way, if you're going to claim you've got an axis of rotation, then you need an R value to give you the sphere that it's going to have an axis strike through it.
Yep. It's all abstract. It's coming out. Their high priests, their pseudo statements are going to be proven filleted alive as abstract, not based on concretedness, a thought experiment, a theoretical, based on a model.
And it doesn't require outward rage. It requires introspection. It requires you to look within. In other words, when people come to the conclusion that they've been deceived, that might be the first rung on a ladder that leads you to eventually realise that you only deceived yourself. That had you have looked a little bit more closely, they disclaimed the nature of their model and the fact that it was philosophical in nature. It was all there, you just had to look a bit closer. Now, the fact that you only scratched the surface and decided to base your worldview and reify that model, that's your fault. There's no one to blame, there's no one to chase, there's no one to go after with pitchforks and flames. Because who are you going to blame? When they told you. Now, at this point, I'm just going to start laughing at the people that think they're on a sphere. In actuality, I appreciate that that is a worldview you can take to gain a better understanding of how the world works. And through this little journey of flat Earth discovery, I've learned a lot more about the heliocentric model. I've learned a lot more about the stars and how they behave. And I could take that conceptualization and philosophy and make it into my world that I actually stand on. I'm not going to because I'm not stupid. But all the people who do, it's your own fault. Don't blame anybody. Don't concern yourselves that the Masons might be after you. They've made it plain, if they're to blame, that it's not a sphere. You just weren't clever enough to figure that out. You reified a philosophy. Well, I'm going to laugh at you for that from now on. Because it's been nail after nail after nail into the coffin of heliocentrism. And now here we are with the last final nail, the Black Swan being hammered in. The thing's airtight now. So, that's it now. All that's left to be done is let's laugh at you for reifying a model that they made plain isn't real. Just a way of thinking about things. You don't actually stand on a sphere. You don't actually have a physical geometric horizon to draw actual tangent lines to things at their actual size. You can't do any of that anymore. It's all gone by the wayside. Goodbye, heliocentrism. So what have you got left to hang your hat on? Nothing. At all. So we'll laugh at you for it when you do hang your hat on the complete obscurity that is a conceptual horizon that can't block things, only visible when you suck the air out, even though the air would be sucked out if we had a sky vacuum. So it's completely game over, and all that's left to do is ridicule them. And that's precisely what I'm going to do from this point forward. You're all morons. Guilty of reification.
Yeah, I think you put it great in that little snippet that you put out today when you said, but you need your R for boats to go over, for it to curve at altitude, and to apply at hidden values to. But they ain't got their R anymore, Nathan.
Yeah, they're currently asking us why they would need a geometric horizon when there's a very specific hidden value that's attributed to it in their calculations. The point of their calculations is to prove the horizon's physical, because they're asserting we're on a physical sphere. So that's the point of proving you've got a physical horizon. The calculator's supposed to be doing precisely that, proving just how physical the horizon is when it blocks stuff at a given value. That's your claim! So when you ask us now why you'd need one, look at your calculator, look at the position marked horizon with an X and the straight lines being drawn to it. That's why you need a geometric horizon. It's your religion, you bunch of fools. Not reality. Yeah. That's just a conceptualization based on philosophy. Not a reality of a sphere you're stood upon. Your religion that you've imposed on yourself is to reify that model into reality. More fool you.
Yeah, why did they, on that orthographic view, put the X right where they put it?
Because that's their claim. That's the basis of their religion. That's what they're supposed to be asserting based on their geometry and their assertions when comparing to physical actualism in the form of photographs. So they say our model is representative of actual physicalism because it's geometric and represents actual sizes rather than things getting smaller into the distance. We'll call that Earth curve, and we'll prove that that Earth curve is Earth curve because look at the physicality of the horizon blocking things. What's that you say? Why would we need a geometric horizon? Because that entire spiel required a physical horizon to block stuff in the distance, and you've asserted it here non-stop. So yeah, you want to know why the Black Swan destroys heliocentrism and the R value? Because you're all claiming you don't have a physical horizon. Destroying every claim you've ever made with that calculator. Your entire claim's imploding before your very eyes, fundies. It's game over. Checkmate. And all you can do is make matters worse while we laugh at you.
Here's something I was looking at yesterday, a little reference to, well, let me just read it. A mathematical object is an abstract object arising in philosophy of mathematics and mathematics. Found that pretty interesting. Then I read the one below. Abstract object. Abstract and concrete are classifications that denote whether a term describes an object with a physical referent or one with no physical referent, with an S. So what they've done is they hijack perspective and optical situations, and they've said with their model, it's this. Then when we press them for the math, they say, oh, well, our math isn't physical. We're more in the philosophy of mathematics, about the mathematics. It has nothing to do with measuring anything. Bunch of liars.
Yeah, well, they're only lying to themselves. Because when it's made plain, as we have investigated and they have not, it's clear that it's a philosophy. A description of taking said philosophy, a way of conceptualizing and thinking about things and turning it into something concrete. It's the fallacy of misplaced concretedness, also known as the reification fallacy. That's what they're all guilty of. We've been saying it for years. We've just now got a really long nail to smack in. And because it's a massive nail, it's taking a while to smack into the coffin of the globe. But they're all watching as it gets smacked in.
Yeah, argument's pretty much over. I mean, like you said, now we're just going to laugh.
Yeah. I know there's other people that are out there looking for the boogeyman, the guy to blame, and there isn't one. People who they think are shilling for the boogeyman, they're not shilling for the boogeyman, they're deluded. They're kidding themselves. They're trying to convince themselves it's a sphere in this arena. Now, trying to convince themselves by trying to convince us, it's just projection. And we've seen that for years. That's all we're dealing with, projection. They tell us we're stupid. No, we're the ones doing the investigation, and what have we just surfaced? Oh, what? Your entire model's based on misplaced concretism. It's abstract. Yeah. Mathematical. Yep. Math is not reality, despite the idiots that you all worship telling you so. It's not. It's abstract. The reality of our horizon is that it's non-physical. But you've reified it into an edge that blocks things. And now you're asking us why it's necessary to have a physical obstruction? It seems bizarre. It seems ludicrous. It makes you all look stupid. But you keep asking us. Or better still, telling us it isn't physical. The very necessity you're claiming when you get that calculator out.
Yeah, how can they have any type of refraction tables that are valid if the very base that they need to do the math to get the refraction tables is not valid?
Yeah, they can't draw straight lines. We should have spotted this when we were in the Isle of Man discussion in the first instance. If you're going to draw straight lines to a physical tangent, and everything that you're looking beyond that physical point is non-physical and refracted, what are they claiming? Well, is it non-refracted up to the horizon so that you can claim straight line geometry and then refracted beyond because it doesn't quite match the maths? Well, no. That halfway house was never investigated. We didn't spot it. More fool us. However, now we've gone beyond the halfway house of, well, is it physical and non-physical beyond the geometric horizon you're asserting in this maths? No, now they've just claimed that all of it's non-physical. You could never see the physicality unless you suck the atmosphere out into the sky vacuum. In other words, if their sky vacuum religion was true and the entropy did take place, the sky vacuum was filled by the gas we're breathing, it vacated, then you'd see a geometric horizon. And only then. We never have those circumstances. Always refraction. Always refraction. Never straight line geometry to the physical obstruction you're asserting then. Game over geometry.
That's an interesting point you bring up about what they claim and what we actually observe. I mean, when I look at a city and the buildings and the way that they lay out the streets and the corners, and I mean, you could see physicality and you could see measurements that were done to make these corners the way they were. How is that all of a sudden not possible unless you get rid of the atmosphere?
Yeah, every claim they've ever made crumbles from this point.
Yep.
Yeah, without a zero point to.
Once more.
Without a point, 0 point, the celestial that's all bullshit now. It's complete bullshit.
Harry from Australia was the first to voice the fact that he had doubts in terms of, could it still be a sphere? Could I be wrong about this? And then he expressed his views in regards to the Black Swan and said, at this point, there is no going back. And it's cognitively freeing. It's far less stressful. There's no turning back. If you can appreciate this argument, you understand that the sphere-Earth argument is completely untenable from this point forth. Not only is it untenable from this point forth, all previous assertions about a physical sphere edge blocking things are null and void. So we're left with a lot of people who've made assertions that are now completely obliterated by their own claim that we don't see a geometric horizon. So this is now chaos for them. That's why it's so bloody quiet here.
Yeah, in that, whoever that was in Discord, thanks for saying that about the celestial sphere, because they even say it's imaginary. So it's not even concrete statement about the celestial sphere. It's this made up sphere where the stars are attached to its infinite distances. And oh, by the way, it's imaginary. Well, you just made up stuff.
It's not even imaginary, it's delusional.
It's delusional to reify it. It's delusional to assume that that is the actualization of your existence when it's clearly defined as a model. That's, by definition, once again, reification, or the fallacy of misplaced concreteness. Hypothesization. Well, once you've done that, you're taking that which is not concrete and making it physical and real. Taking something that is abstract, mathematical, not actual, like a geometric horizon, and turning it into something physical. Now, at the point that you relinquish its physicality because it's demonstrated beyond its geometric capabilities of being physical, you then have to logically declare what we've declared in the modus tollens argument. It's not a physical sphere edge. But you need it to be. That's the basis of your religion. So yeah, it's nothing but downhill from here for them. The fundies, the globeheads, the globe, heliocentrism. It's dead. Untenable from now on.
Checkmate.
And they're all sharing their pain. They're in the comments, they're watching these videos, they're not involved in the debate anymore. In the same way as if you've got a two-sided battle and one side is completely in chaos. They're not organised, they're not ready, they're not even dressed. How are they going to go on the battlefield? So the fact that we're stood here, fully dressed, all our guns loaded, pointing at them, waiting, and nothing's happening, is just a testament to how bad it is on their side of this. Terrible. In complete chaos. Even when there's not much going on, there's still something going on typically on this show. Well, don't let the silence from the other side fool you. The murmurings and wishful thinking of, well, the Black Swan's dead. No, it isn't. Your R-value's dead. Your geometry is dead. Your assertion that we actually stand upon a philosophical idea used to understand the way the stars work a little bit better, for those of us with a higher degree of intelligence, than to reify a model into existence. For those people who have reified it, it's game over. We definitely, unequivocally, do not stand upon a spherical surface.
Oh, I was trying to hold back my laughter when you said the battlefield's set and they're all naked. They think they can mount a defense. They haven't even got their clothes on. Oh.
They're naked and they're fighting with each other.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Exactly. There's been an explosion in the mess hall. There's food everywhere. They've gone in the middle of the night naked and are wrestling with each other in the midst of all of this food chaos. And they don't know what the hell to do. And like I say, because we're stood here, this is a stood here, guns pointing, going, okay, come in. Tell us about how non-physical your horizon is so we can laugh at you. And they've seen it happen half a dozen times. And they've all got wise to it. They all realise there's absolutely no defence to this argument. So what they're going to do, come in and humiliate themselves, become yet another poster child for globehead stupidity, like Rumpus or Brenda or Mr. Sensible. No, none of them want that. A couple of them want to change the subject and just claim ignorance. Or wishful thinking. It's dead. This argument's dead. All right, well, beyond your baseless assertion, you don't have a physical geometric horizon anymore. And you need one, it's in your model. It's absolutely required. It's the basis of your religion. And you don't have one anymore, but you think it's a Black Swan dead situation. No. Wishful thinking, my fundy friend. A lot of tongue twisters in that.
That was good.
Almost got there.
I was going to say they can't even skirt the issue because they ain't got no skirt.
Yeah, the silence speaks volumes.
Some of the arguments that they pose to prove a globe are so ridiculous too. Like they'll say, the stars. Well, yeah, well, stars are moving. So what? What's the big deal? How does that prove a globe?
Yeah, how does that prove the surface beneath my feet is bending away from me at 8 inches per mile squared? It doesn't. It isn't. It's demonstrably flat. It's obviously and observably not curving in any way, shape or form, and the only assertion that requires mathematics is an abstraction that utilises a physical horizon, which they no longer have thanks to the black swan.
Now, Nathan, right there, you showed something there. See, they want us to look up to say this is a sphere when all we got to do is look down, and if it's a sphere, the sphere will reveal itself to us with the geometry that it would have, right? So
Yes.
when we push for that geometry to be shown, it says at a 1 foot observer height, every horizon distance can be no more than 1.22 miles. Their geometry, because it's their R value. It's not the flat Earth's R value. We don't have an R value. So we're using their geometry, their sphere, and it's not there. So they say, no, don't look down. Look up, look at the stars. That proves we're a globe.
They can't even say that anymore, though. They've given up their celestial observations when they give up the horizon.
Correct.
Yeah,
they
the whole
need
thing
R.
comes down.
R's really important. That R value is fundamental to their religion. And just assuming it worked up until now you can't. Now, when we challenge you on the R value and its necessity for a physical geometric horizon, you don't have one. So game over. No R value, no geometry, no sphere Earth reification. You can't suddenly trust in your ideas that R is just true to begin with. It's okay to beg the question, no, we've disproved it, so it's no longer okay to just assume it. If it was, for all the people with the wishful thinking that the black swan's been barbecued, why would people be asking us why you need a physical horizon when the same people have spent 3 years arguing for a physical horizon blocking stuff in the distance? It wouldn't be the case that they'd be asking us, why would you need one? Well, because every claim you've ever made required one. That's why. And you don't have it anymore. Year of the Black Swan is going to be a great year. It might be quiet on this particular front for the time being, but like I say, it's only a one-way trip, a descent into chaos for their side of this argument from here on in. We've already seen the start of it. It's ramping up fast.
Since we're piling on, can I add a few more?
Yeah, I got a couple of minutes before the live show starts, so yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, as our friend on Discord stated, everything would be wrong. So would gravity would have to change. And so if you weigh 200 pounds, you'd have to weigh 400 pounds if the radius just doubled. Now, we know with the 10.10 mile obvious horizon past that, the latest picture from BLMSB 69, that you're looking at a horizon at 10 miles that would prove now, if there were spheres in the beginning, to begin with, that would be a 264,000 mile radius. So that's a little bit more than double. So let's just say double from 3959, just double that. Well, if you weigh 200 pounds, you now would weigh 400 pounds. Buildings would collapse on each other because they weren't built to withstand the new gravity power, which is another reified statement that goes with a sphere. So everything falls apart. Bridges would collapse. People would get heavier. People would die. The bone structure, because they believe in evolution, our bone structure wasn't made to handle such weights. They would collapse. Everything is going to be proven wrong here because we're not on a sphere.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, we are joined by 10th Man and Righteous Force in G+, together with a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Hello, Discord.
Morning.
Right, good to have you all. So in the pre-show, we were discussing how quiet it is and why it's quiet. It's because, in analogy, we have a battlefield in front of us. And us, in this analogy, is the Flat Earthers. We're all here, combat ready, armed to the teeth, holding a lot of ammunition, pointing it down the battlefield. Looking over this battlefield, going, where the hell is everyone? Why aren't they here? So then we do our little harp music, and we go over to the barracks of the Globeheads. And they've had an explosion in the mess hall. There's food everywhere. In the middle of the night, they've got up to check what's going on, and now they're slipping all over each other in total chaos, while we're stood on the battlefield, us being the Flat Earthers. So they're in total chaos. Why are they in total chaos? Well, they had an assertion that they lived, because they are guilty of reification, on a sphere shape. And that sphere shape was backed up by the claim that things in the distance were blocked by the physicality and geometry of that sphere. Now, since we've had this modus tollens argument formulated with an analogy called the Black Swan, we're in a circumstance where people who have spent quite literally years on this show telling us just how physical the geometric edge is and qualifying how much it blocks things in the distance with feet and inches are now telling us that they don't have a geometric horizon and asking us why they would need one. Well, let me answer that question before we get into housekeeping. You'd require a physical geometric edge for a horizon if you are a fundamentalist globehead believer, because it's the basis of your religion that you're standing on a sphere. Now, for those of us who have done a little bit more investigation, we've discovered that the idea of standing on a sphere is merely a reification, the fallacy of misplaced concretedness, turning that which is not concrete, in this case an abstraction, a mathematical construct used to make the world a little bit easier to understand, taking that concept and making it into physical reality. It's not. It's an abstraction. It's mathematics. We don't have, as declared by the current opposition, who think they live on a sphere, we don't have a physical geometric edge to do geometry with. So the sphere religion has become untenable. Doesn't change the fact that plenty of the people on the battlefield still believe in it, or want to. They may or may not appreciate just how untenable their argument has become, but with time they will. But while the chaos ensues, all we get is some mutterings and murmurings, the echoes coming through the waves in the form of chat comments.
So,
hey, Owen.
So what? So you've disproved the radius. So what?
Perfect timing, Owen. So what? So you don't have a sphere Earth religion anymore. That's what so what is.
What did you need a radius for?
To assert you lived on a sphere.
speculating, right?
To assert you lived on a
experiment.
sphere, Chocolate. That's what they needed a radius for.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Chocolate.
Good morning.
Morning, chocolate.
In light
Yeah.
of that little speech, any signs of physical Earth curve obstructions in the form of a horizon that can block things in the distance, bend at altitude?
No, they don't have one. Oh wait, they do. They do. No, wait, they don't. Do they?
You're on fire today, Alwyn.
Yeah, Arwen's 2 for 2, man.
Yep, 2 for 2. So no signs of any curvature of any description then.
Well, not from the Costco parking lot.
And not from the Walmart parking lot.
Not from Asda parking lot. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety? Feel free to join
None
in
of the
Discord.
Earth.
Without
Oh,
R, you can't do anything with the celestial observations.
Oh, we'll get to the sun shortly. Any evidence of the distance to the sun? There you go, John.
Without R, you can't do anything with celestial observations.
That's right. They can't even assume 93 million miles without R. Oh dear, it looks like the entire heliocentric model's collapsing in on itself. Oh, terrible, terrible. Anyway, any scientific evidence of gravity?
Oh, that
Well,
question
just
kept
don't hold me
saying
to
today.
Well, scientific
Can't
evidence
have gravity
of
without
an
R.
effect attributed to something that really is conceptual and cannot be proven.
That wasn't very funny, but very true. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Not without R.
Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container?
No,
No.
I had
can't
this up
think of a
earlier,
way
Arwin.
to even
By the way,
try that out.
I had this picture up in the pre-show.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah.
Isn't it incredible?
I like it. It's good.
Yeah, Ben Garrison is pretty famous, and yeah,
What?
and he literally
Wait,
hit
wait,
the
wait,
globe
wait.
and the black swan in plain sight.
The globe is scared riding a black swan, and it says fear on the black swan.
No
Yes,
shit.
If
but
that's not incredible.
It's hidden in plain sight because the world is not the globe. It's literally the world of people, symbolically. The swan just happened to be the ride. It happens to be black for no particular reason. And it really is more about the corona fear versus the lake of death. So Ben Garrison is a genius. He hid the black swan in plain sight. Plain sight.
Yeah, this is awesome. You can send me this if you have it. Send
He's
me this
posted
picture.
it.
It's I posted it in Skype.
Now,
Oh, okay.
I've been watching some shows of the Black Swan event when it comes to the financial application of the Black Swan. So this doubles for both. It's actually very clever.
It is.
Yeah, extremely clever. As soon as I saw it, I was like, instantly I know what that is going to be because it's a mainstream cartoon. But the subtlety of our argument being completely contained within is like, even if it's not intentional, I'm having that. That's great. I'm having it.
That's why I reacted when I saw. I was like, "What? What is it? Are you kidding?" Very nice.
It's brilliant.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, look at the Black Swan saying, hold on.
Yeah, very cool. Where'd you find that, Arwin?
Where did I find it? Oh yeah. Wait. I got it. I don't remember. Where did I get that?
I don't know. Why are you asking me?
I'm just wondering, where did I actually find that? I think maybe it was in the 24/7 Discord or something. I don't know where I found this. I'm pretty sure I didn't go to that site, the Conservative Daily News. I think somebody else found it. Oh wait, yeah, it was Dank. Dank put it in my chat. He found it.
Okay. So I'll have to ask Dank. Dan K. Dan, where did you get this? Hopefully it'll tell us. As there's a slight segue in this picture, any evidence of a molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Or, alternatively, a chocolate core at the centre of the Willy Wonka Earth?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Love it.
Dang, that was good.
I think we've covered them all. Is that it? I think so. Hey, Sleeping Warrior?
Hey.
Missed out on housekeeping, I'm afraid. I'm sure you're heartbroken.
What's up, Riley?
Say we're still on housekeeping.
No, you've just missed. We just literally finished it the
just-
second you joined.
Just
Oh,
wrapped
excellent.
it up.
Excellent.
Green excellent.
So,
99% of the Western world think they live on a spinning sphere flying through a sky vacuum. We finished the housekeeping questions without a single rebuttal. Answer's like, excellent!
I'm just wondering if there was any progress on the ball Earth side for this geometric horizon that they believe exists. I find it interesting that they believe this stuff and, can't prove it, but think it's okay to just, believe this stuff. I want to play a little clip from when Jeremy was asked. It's only about 5 seconds. When he was asked about what is... Actually, I can't remember what the clip is, but let me just play it. It'll literally take 10 seconds.
You live on a globe.
How would they know they live on a globe?
They have a justified true belief.
How would they know they live on a globe? They have a justified true belief. Bit like, how do they know they've got a geometric horizon? They have a justified true belief. Well, that's what they've got. A justified model, true, well, not sure, belief. Yeah, that's what it is. You guys just believe.
No, it isn't. No. The model's become untenable. They've no longer got a geometric horizon. They've no longer got a physical geometric sphere edge blocking things in the distance. The argument from their position is now untenable. So a justified belief? Not at all. An untenable belief.
Yeah, but they're not going to let go of their model, are they?
Well, let go of it? They're telling us they haven't got a geometric horizon. They are letting go of it. They're asking us why they'd need a geometric physical edge to block things in the distance. Aren't you listening to what they're asking you?
Well, let's see what the next few weeks brings, eh? As the ballers begin to realise that their model's collapsing. I don't know where else they're going to go.
No more pointing up.
They have no choice but to change their model because their current model doesn't work.
Light Energy said it best in the Discord yesterday about the 0 point for all their celestial navigation observations. They've given that up.
You there, Light Energy?
She may be at work.
No, she's here. Hello, Light Energy. Good to have you. Did you hear that little preamble?
Hello. Yeah. Yeah, my whole point yesterday was if you have a horizon that just keeps changing at its base, at its level, then how can you measure where the horizon starts to measure your celestial movements?
Oh, was that not rhetorical? You can't.
Exactly. That was rhetorical.
Worth answering anyway. Yeah, I'm looking forward to more and more things exactly like that, Light Energy. People coming forward saying, hang on, this doesn't work either now. Hang on, that doesn't work either. In fact, none of it works. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't, does it? Yeah, we don't live on a sphere flying through a sky vacuum. It's preposterous, untenable, nonsense.
Absolutely. There was another gentleman that was trying to speak up before you went live, and he pointed out that gravity doesn't work if you don't have R, and what was the other thing? Well, yeah, the celestial bodies don't work without our. Nothing is working without our.
Light energy. Did I give you props for that poem you wrote? Because that was dope.
Yes. Thank you.
Very welcome. That was awesome.
It's quiet in here today. What's going on? We need a little bit of spice. Anybody in Discord?
Here,
Nathan, you can target?
here,
Did you
geometric
say-
horizon.
Did you
Here,
say
little
spice?
geometric horizon. Here, boy.
Chocolate. Did Anthony just say spice?
Yeah, it's not gonna come out anymore, chocolate. No, it's
Here,
not
little
safe.
geometric horizon.
It's not safe.
Metaphorically, Anthony, when you didn't hear my analogy at the beginning of the show, or maybe you did, I can't remember, about them being basically completely caught with their pants down while we're all dressed for battle. So there's not going to be a battle when that's the circumstance, right? So what do you do in that situation? Well, you send men over. Well, that's essentially what you've done when you poked the bear yesterday with Ruhif. That's why I trimmed out that clip. So that's what I've been doing. Poke, poke, poke. Because clearly they don't want to come to us. They want to make their excuses.
Oh no, they do want to fight the Flat Earthers. Issued a challenge to any Flat Earther that wants to debate the Black Swan. They can do it on his channel and he'll take on anyone. And my name got mentioned. So did yours, Nathan. But, I mean, why would anybody want to go to their channels when all they do in chat is just attack the person all the time, in chat all the time? They can't have the conversation. They have to make it some kind of Punch and Judy show. It's just, there's no point going to these ballers because there's no benefit to doing it. They ignore, they deny, they dismiss everything that we ever say, and they never ever concede any points ever. It's just like talking to a concrete post.
Well, has there been an offer of actual rebuttal? We've laid it down. Balls in your court, Fundies. What's your rebuttal?
Come into my chat instead. That's what he wants us to do.
Well, no. Not let's change venue. So, metaphorically speaking, we're on the battlefield, bayonets pointing your way, and your rebuttal is, let's change the venue. Let's all pack up and move down the... No. The battle lines have been drawn. Now we just need a rebuttal. I don't give a shit what form it comes. You don't have to come here to give me... I'm not going to beg you to come here. I don't care that you're not here. Good. I'm glad you're not here. It's nice and quiet. However, if you feel you have a rebuttal, give it us. Don't give a crap what form it takes. Make a video. Explain what you think you've got, fat boy.
Well, I've clearly heard him say before that the boats would be disappearing over a physical geometric horizon.
Yeah, I've already got plenty of shit from him. I don't need him here. And as for me going to him, for what? What do I need from him other than him asserting that we have a physical geometric horizon that's currently being denied by the rest of the fundies that do come here? So you don't think I need you for anything, fatty, other than to laugh at you. Yeah, you're our comparison. When the idiots tell us that, no, we don't have a geometric horizon. No, of course, you could only see it if you sucked out all the atmosphere. Play the clip of Fat Boy saying, we've got a physical geometric edge. Or Red's rhetoric saying, oh, what would that be? The geometry? No, it wouldn't be. Yeah, the fact that you don't want to come here to have your head chopped off doesn't alter the fact that we've got a demolishment of your argument. It's already been laid down. The bomb's gone off.
Plus, nobody cares about you, Fight the Flat Earth. You're irrelevant.
No, I care
Look
if
at
he's
your
got a
name.
rebuttal.
Look at your name.
I care if he's got a rebuttal. I'm searching for them. Day after day after day. So if he's got a rebuttal, I want to hear it. I don't give a crap how I hear it. I don't give a crap if he makes his little video in his own little time because he's too scared of the mute button or whatever bullshit excuse they want to offer up. But if you've got a rebuttal, let's hear it. And what's that? The rebuttal we've got so far is we don't have a geometric horizon. Not so much of a rebuttal, more a relinquishment of your religious belief in a sphere we're standing on. So not so good so far. Let's see if Fat Boy can do any better.
Maybe he and Mr. Sensible should confer with each other and see whether or not the radius is important in their model. Because one of them thinks that, at best we've disproven it, and thinks that means nothing.
Yeah, let's move on to that and just go with basic logic, which seems to have eluded them right now because of this. So let's just say, so what is the consequences of us disproving the radius? Where do you go from here? What is your claim now? Do you
There's
still
nothing
claim
left to
a
do,
ball?
Arwin, except welcome
Sure
them
that
to
a ball
flat
has a
Earth.
radius.
There's nothing left to
kind of
do
agree with
except
that.
there's nothing left to do except welcome them to flat Earth, Arwin.
Good. Or you could just push it a little.
If I may,
I kind of agree because what are we going to talk about? The oil rigs again? Like, what is even the point of talking to fight the flat Earth? What rebuttal could you possibly have, buddy? Your side has already conceded the geometry of your model, so I don't know where we're going from here.
Yeah, and who would want him to come here with his pants down anyway?
It's not about him, it's about a rebuttal of any form from anyone. I don't give a crap who's got a rebuttal. And I'm not spending time after time after time going through the searches to see who's actually produced a rebuttal, just to hear the same ad hominem attacks over and over again. Water off a duck's back. Swan's back. Couldn't care less about your ad homs. Dr. Phil. I'm not interested in ad homing you either with your complete incompetence when it comes to science. Although I will quote you now as saying, a hypothesis is, in caps, not a prediction. Followed up by several cited quotes from me where actual scientists describe it as a scientific prediction, predicting cause and effect, things of that nature. Prof. Phil Bell, moron. However, my challenge to you personally is meaningless. Your religion, however, utilised a physical sphere edge to block things in the distance, and you don't have one anymore. So yeah, you can attack me and how weak I am, or how weak you think I am, sat in my chair on my show, doing what I do for a living. Couldn't care less about your personal attack. It won't bring you back a geometric physical obstruction. And you need one. It's the basis of your religion. So attack me all you like, you pathetic fundies. Yeah, you want to point out my mathematical acumen? You've no longer got a sphere edge. Who gives a crap about me as an individual? Yeah. Like it's going to make a difference. Shooting the messenger's pathetic. When you've no longer got a sphere edge for a horizon. And you need one. It's marked with an X and labelled horizon in your geometric model that you draw straight lines in. What's that? It's all bent? Yeah, bent would be the operative word for your model. Bent. Fictitious. Frauds. Who have inadvertently reified into existence a model that was used by philosophers to gain a better understanding about how their world worked. Not because they actually thought they were stood on a sphere. You peasants. You idiots. You should have looked at the more intelligent people who gave you these philosophical musings about how to better understand the world and understand where they were, the application of mathematics, abstractions, not reality, not physics, not science. Now, if that wasn't made clear already for you, I'll make it clear now. You don't have any science. There's no scientific evidence for this. You've merely reified mathematics by philosophy. Well, more for you, you bunch of idiots. They made it clear it wasn't real. They made it clear it was a model. But you chose to reify it, didn't you? What a bunch of fools. If you'd have understood the philosophy of a sphere Earth, you wouldn't have made your declaration that you were actually standing on it. You'd know better, like we do. In the meantime, you can attack me if you like. Because that'll make your edge of a sphere come back into existence. Oh no, the Black Swan was only needed once to destroy any idea that you have a physical sphere edge for boats to go over. And to necessitate you asking us why you'd need one. Absolutely hysterical. I'll just sit back from my chair and watch the entire thing implode. And I'll laugh at you while you cry and scream as it does so.
I don't know. I'm kind of personally curious to see where this is going to go. Like, are they going to retract the necessities that are derived from their claim in the first place? Like, will they actually go to the point where they will start saying that they don't need a radius for a globe Earth? Because they might just go there. You never really know how crazy it can get.
They've already done it. Try and keep up, Arwin. They've already done it. 10th Man's given us plenty of quotes. There's even a term for it. The effective radius. Not the physical radius, not the one they claimed in the maths was blocking the Isle of Man. An effective radius. What's that based on? Well, an R value and an assumption of terrestrial refraction. And what's that based on? Well, a physical radius. It's the biggest cluster screw you've ever seen, and it's all imploding before our very eyes. This all started with a question about why it's so quiet. That's why. The bomb's gone off and we're watching the chaos.
I have a correction on something you said.
How dare you. Go ahead.
Well, they've also given up their mathematics because the horizon was the 0 point for all their observations. Without a zero, you don't have mathematical anything.
You'll have to expand on that. My only understanding was that they were performing actual geometry, which required them drawing straight lines, which they can't do if they've got refraction of any description, at the point that they relinquish a physical geometric horizon. Up until then, I think I did this in the pre-show, you got a halfway house where they could argue the toss into obscurity where, oh, well, it's physical and geometric up to the point of the horizon, and then things beyond it are refracted. But as soon as they start disclaiming that the horizon isn't physical and actual, it's refracted, it's not actual, it's apparent, redundant when describing a horizon, well then everything that you're looking at, according to them, is non-physical, refracted, and therefore you can't perform geometry anymore. So that's in my understanding why they'd have to relinquish the maths in the first instance.
Right. I mean, that's what they're doing, though. They're throwing math away now. They threw away science earlier. Now they're throwing math away and still keeping the claim.
Like I say, they can't keep anything going at this point. It's untenable. The argument's untenable. They can't just believe. That used to work, not anymore.
Like they used to say, there's all this science. The body of science proves the globe. Come to 2020, oh, science doesn't prove things. Well, back in the day, they had a physical geometric curve, they used to call it. I think I remember slightly. Right. Come 2020, oh, we've never seen it before. Things certainly have changed, guys.
Everything that they've said thus far deals in degrees, like 15 degrees, 45 degrees. If you don't have a 0 point, you don't have degrees of anything.
I'd agree with that.
Guys, I just started to think for a moment, their assertion that science, as they say, supposedly doesn't prove anything. Maybe that was ever considered that when they say that they may think they're talking about the scientific method, but they're actually talking about their interpretation of science and basically what they do. Maybe it was always meant to mean, without them even realizing it, that everything they do doesn't prove anything.
That's correct. When they say, I'll paraphrase, they say science doesn't prove anything. What they mean is we have pseudoscience, and pseudoscience proves nothing. The fact they called it science is irrelevant. The fact that they may have even thought it was science is irrelevant. The fact that they now declare that science does not prove anything when it absolutely proves cause and effect is also meaningless. What they had wasn't science, what they had was pseudoscience, and that proves nothing. Their declaration that science doesn't prove anything is merely their declaration that their pseudoscience proved nothing, when it's been disproved by us.
Right. I wonder if they realize that, though.
No. Well, who's they? Let's be specific. Right, let's poke some bears.
Rumpus.
We've had Rumpus, no one we've had. Let's list off who we've had. Right, so far, let's not have beheaded fundies. Beheaded already. Rumpus. Brenda. Mr. Sensible. Ruhif. Who else?
Unorthodox.
Unorthodox. Planner walk. All headless chickens. Zanuck. All headless chickens. So, who do you want to poke? Red Rhetoric. Headless chicken now. Come on, Arwen, there must be a bear you want to poke.
Sorry, I was typing something.
Pick a bear and poke it. Slice Arcane, already been poked.
Was George mentioned already?
Perfect. Yeah, no, George hasn't had a mention. Go ahead, poke away.
Okay,
I'll do it for you. George, you did a presentation about how much geometric obstruction you'd have based on the R value. You did an entire presentation on it. Your model had an assertion that you had physical geometric obstruction based on a physical geometric Earth curve edge called the horizon in your model. According to your cohorts, quote, "We don't have a geometric horizon," end quote, Fundies 2020. That means your model that you asserted by presentation is completely bunk, George. Arwin's telling you that, aren't you, Arwin?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Exactly, you see?
What he said.
Well, I said. Right on. Let's poke someone else.
You know his presentation so much better than I do because I've really rarely been able to sit through longer than 2 minutes of it.
I don't think I've ever sat through a presentation of his. I joined once when he was doing a presentation because within 30 seconds of seeing a presentation from him, I objected to everything he said. He had a Kármán line holding in gas pressure, an imaginary place that apparently gives him the volume of gas that he'll measure the pressure for. Well, he doesn't have an imaginary gas pressure container in the form of a Kármán line, an arbitrary position he'll designate. So I immediately object whenever I see anything he says ever, because he's a complete buffoon, just makes stuff up, like arbitrary positions holding in gas pressure, which it doesn't. Same goes for his models. I've only ever seen them when they've been taken apart by people like Quantum Eraser, who obviously has got the tenacity to sit through such utter garbage. Me, it makes me want to be sick.
I think I have another one for you.
Hey, Nathan.
Might have forgotten a little about it, but how about conspiracy cats?
Feel free.
He's done
Poke.
some really goofy
He's already been poked
presentations.
by Anthony, but yeah.
Nathan, Mr. Giggles was supposed to be on the live show today. He promised he would show up.
Yeah, he's dealing with a spaghetti explosion in the mess hall, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Nathan, the ballers are dealing with something else.
What a lack of
Dealing
their
with the
religion.
exposure that you elucidated yesterday, which is who's the lie? The they, when they say why would they lie, it's themselves. They're lying to themselves, and they finally realized it. Now they're left with the guilty conscience of why have I been making excuses for this model I reified?
Oh, well put. Thank you, AI Overlord.
Nice.
Well
Now,
put.
I posted a video for you to watch from Louis Rossman. He's a computer technician, works on a lot of Apple products, and he made an observation about Apple sheep. Back in the day when Apple was making all these problems and people were defending Apple, they were coming up with excuses because they didn't want to be the one to point out that this product was bad because they wanted to be included. So they made up excuses for Apple. Like, oh, you're just holding the phone wrong. Or, oh, you don't know how to use it. And the moral of his story is, don't make excuses for the other by denying your experience. And that's what the Globers do. They lie to themselves. They deny their experience. They have a shitty phone that sucks. They need to return it to the store and say, please give me a good phone. But instead, they make excuses for the phone that they have, which is the Globe model. So you got guys like you just mentioned making up fake Kármán line containers, other guys making up super looming refraction. Like they are making it up as they go in their own mind, like you said yesterday, to make it palatable to their belief system. But it is ultimately them lying to themselves. So the answer is, why would they lie? It's you are lying to yourself.
Someone's brought him up. So on screen now, I've got Louis Rossman. I've been subscribed for a long time to Louis Rossman. I love him. And not metaphorically. As does GeoShifter. So we're both fans of Louis Rossman. We've had a couple of chats which were kind of awkward in Louis Rossman's chat. So we were watching him doing a MacBook board repair. And for some reason, GeoShifter and I still give each other a high five in his chat on his live stream. Before long, we're being asked questions about Flat Earth that are kind of awkward. And you can hear in the back of his then very small shop rumblings about the chat. It's quite amusing, because me and GeoShifter are kind of, we're awkwardly, uncomfortably shifting in our seats because I've been banned from many a different live chat purely because of expressing an answer to somebody who's asked me a question. In other words, I don't necessarily want to be in Louis Rossman's chat talking about this subject. I go to his chat to escape this And the fact that I saw GeoShifter there, I'm like, oh, bloody hell. Please don't get me banned. You know, I don't want to... I like this chat room. Anyway, so I'll give you a bit of a background to Lewis Rossman. He's just moved... He's a guy in New York. He's moved into a really nice premises, and he's just suddenly gone from looking fairly amateurish in his old shop, where he does his MacBook board repairs, to looking like beyond professional. It's just like a complete transformation in his new premises, apart from the odd video talking about blocking up holes to stop cockroaches coming in and things like that. But it's just a fascinating character. He lays his entire life out there and expresses his views. Sometimes he does talk about conspiracy in a mild way. But I put him on for my wife literally last night. So she's like, oh, we can't watch endless stuff about flat earth while we're eating dinner. I'm like, okay, I'll put something else on. So I put on Lewis Rossman, and she's like asking me questions about him doing a board repair, and I'm telling her what he's doing, and she's like, oh, this is much nicer. In other words, my wife would rather watch a MacBook get repaired at board level than she would listen to a flat earth video, which has made me crack up. But there we go. Not like technology is mostly a woman's subject that they'll be interested in, but literally she'd rather watch Lewis Rossman repair a MacBook than watch us discuss the non-physicality of a geometric impossibility. But there we go. That's my wife for you. Shout out to Lewis Rossman. Love your work. No other Lewis Rossman friends? Just me and AI Overlord to take it? No one else has ever heard of him? Got 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, nobody piss him off either, because he still has to do my hard drive.
He's doing some work for you, is he? Yeah. It's not him that does the hard drives, though, is it?
No, he trained his new kid, so he's had to have that new kid do it.
I don't care for Macintosh.
Neither does he. He literally hates them. Don't buy a Mac would be his advice.
Well, I'll give you guys an example. It's like Apple will charge you $1,500 to replace your logic board, and they will not guarantee that you get your data. In fact, they just assume all your data is lost. So all your pictures of your kids, all your flat Earth arguments, the time when Rumpus conceded that the Earth is flat, all those things will be lost forever. And you have to pay $1,500 for the privilege of having Apple erase your data, when he could fix the board for like a couple $100 and get your data. That's the point he's making. Is like, you don't just have allegiance to a brand or a model and do mental backflips to make excuses for it when they're screwing you every which way.
That's
the thing about the Globe is like, nobody's out there officially publishing, you should make this argument or that argument to defend the Globe. These guys are coming up with it on their own because they're so loyal to the brand. They're so invested in the lie that they would rather make up more lies, and they are lying to themselves by denying their own experience. You say, I'm seeing this, but no, it's something else. You're lying to yourself. It's that simple.
Yep. And as a groupthink mentality, they can develop their own arguments and their own rebuttals and their own smear of heliocentric bullshit to put over the top of any rebuttal that we come up with. Now, at the moment, they're working out amongst themselves which way the direction of the smear should go. But there isn't one. They can't smear over the top of this papier-mâché ball. It's had too many holes poked in, and now it's collapsing. Shout out to Awaken Narrative, who says, concentric star trails on whirl-twirl tiltilipti. Okay, I don't really follow that, but thank you very much for the super chat, Awaken Narrative. Really appreciate your support. Smash the super chat if you want to support this channel.
I'm just waiting for one of them to come in and say something about 15 degrees, 45 degrees, and then you can ask them from what? Because they've given up 0. They don't have that.
Need a little tumbleweed graphic to go by. Yeah, ain't no one coming in.
When we got all this time for them to come in here and explain to us where the hell their geometric horizon is, but they just sit and chat. I don't get it. I look in the chat real quick. I see this Phil Black guys talking shit. Mark Taylor. Like, what's wrong with you guys? Why don't you guys get on the mic, Man up for a second and show us what you got. Why are you sitting in chat just talking shit? I don't get it.
Because they're girls with skirts. They're cowards. They've always been cowards. They're retarded cowards. You can't spell radius or retard without R. Where's the geometric horizon, crayon munchers? That's the question. Where is it? Show it to us. You're finished. We're going to drive the frigging silver stakes in real slow. And then we're going to do it again. Over and over and over again. Get ready.
Yeah, I described it like a really long coffin nail, the final one. And they're all stood around screaming and yelling at us personally while we smack the nail in. A nail in the shape of a black swan. But they're yelling at the people with the hammer rather than addressing the nail that's getting deeper and deeper and deeper as time goes by. Yeah, you scream at us. Yeah, you tell us we're stupid. Yeah, you attack our acumen. Yeah, that'll really bring back the geometric horizon you're all relinquishing. It'll work, yeah. Do it long enough. Attack us personally long enough. Water off a swan's back.
You're finished, retards. You're checkmated. How you like me now?
Yeah, every time I'm braced for a little bit of... another shout out to Awaken Narrative. Concentric star trails is the flying black swan. Okay. I'll have to wrap my head around that later. But thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it, Awaken Narrative.
Where's Mr. Giggles with his scientific evidence of gravity?
Oh, is that what he was coming in for? Oh, well.
Yeah.
Non-Black Swan related. Fair enough.
Yeah, he changed his name. Dabbity Dog or Dabbity Dumb Shit or whatever. Come on, get in here.
Is the room full? Let's move a few people. Buster never talks. Sorry, Buster.
Well, Nathan, if he comes in and talks about gravity, he's going to have to change 9.8 meters square per meters, whatever that saying is, because the radius is off.
Yeah, this is just a little sidebar till we get back to asking them where their geometric horizon is.
They don't have one.
Yeah, I know that. I just want to hear him say it. And you know the next words that are coming out of my mouth.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
I've always been curious. I've always been curious why they defend gravity so much. It's a neither here nor there argument because it's not contingent upon the shape whatsoever. Now, it's contingent in their math, sure, but there's no necessary consequence between a ball floating in space and gravity or a flat plane and people being held to the ground. It's like things going up and down has nothing to do with the shape of the ground whatsoever. So if you've already relinquished R, arguing gravity is like regression.
It's because the pseudoscientists in the realm of astrophysics have decided that it's a necessity part of their origin story. So it's weaseled into a lot of their arguments and their mathematics. So for example, you're there, Sleeping Warrior. When you talk about relative density, it's a fairly short description that sums it up beautifully. Relative density. But yet we would assert things because of their mathematics and our training at school that it's actually density and buoyancy. And then you look into buoyancy and it's got all of their mathematics weaseled and weaved into it. So even when you assert the very basic premise of things being more dense than the medium that they're in, they would assert that that's a buoyancy effect and the contraforce, or however you describe it, to the gravitational effect, just by using one word. Another example, I keep wanting to say this and get it in, AI Overlord. I'm so pleased that you've mentioned the fact that when I had that thought, well, who's lying to who? Where's the boogeyman? Well, there isn't one. It's just us. We're all lying to ourselves and coming up with our own bullshit. Whatever level that might be. It might be somebody in great power that can permeate that nonsense quite far and wide. Or it might just be yourself at this ground level deceiving the people in the trenches. Who cares? It's no boogeyman. It's just you lying to yourself. Well, I'm glad you kind of picked up on that, and I hope others have. Because, like I say, when I thought it was like a penny drop moment, you're like, bloody hell, why are we going after Shields and Boogeyman? There isn't one. Well, it might be. Like I say, the people that are perpetuating the lie and maybe don't even realise it might put out a documentary about it that's really, quote unquote, shilling for the globe lie. But they might not have any vague conception that they're even telling anything in the slightest bit deceptive. But yeah, they permeate it throughout the media channels that they've got available to them, and it has a massive effect on the general populace. Well, are they suddenly the boogeyman that needs chasing? If you tied him or her to a chair and were like, why did you perpetuate this lie? And they were like, I didn't know! What are you talking about? I was just making a documentary. Of course the world's a spit. That would be their attitude. So is that, if you actually got to the person that's putting out the information that's now classified by us as just incorrect, half the time you dig deep enough and they're disclaiming it themselves. You dig into the Andrew Thomas Young stuff and you find that he's making it perfectly clear that you're conceptualizing a physical horizon, that you're taking geometric consideration when looking at something not actual. So they tell you. He just didn't look hard enough, the ones that reified it.
Yeah, it's the same thing with space-time.
Exactly.
It's all a conceptual construct.
We have Mr. Giggles. He exclaims, I don't have a mic. Yeah.
That is so weak.
Get out of here.
The thing to remember, Nathan, the minute you say the word buoyancy, in the maths, it calculates for gravity being a force to give them the buoyancy effect. But if gravity is not a force, then what does that do to the maths for buoyancy? If it's incorrect, it makes the maths invalid. That's the key point to remember with buoyancy. That's why we should avoid that word and say relative density instead, because it describes the same thing. It just doesn't rely on the maths being calculated as a force, because we know, of course, gravity is not a force. And even if you think of it as a force, it still doesn't make it a force.
Mic check, Discord, mic check.
Hello, Travis, was that? Sounded like Travis.
Hey, yeah, I've been trying to talk for a while. Drop and rejoin. Yeah, it was me. We got RB 1985 in Discord here. Share your pain. Come off mute.
Hey, how's it going?
Very well. I've told you 9 times, RB, that we only have one horizon.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's not that. I corrected myself on that, didn't I?
No, you're going very high pitched. I just know that you're a chat commenter that I've had to tell 9 times that we only have one horizon. You kept telling us that we're dumb, that we don't understand there's a difference between geometric and apparent. I have also told you in the same exact statements that apparent's redundant.
I think you're mistaking me with somebody else.
Oh, okay. There's another dude called RB. Obviously, Discord and YouTube names are obviously not the same, so sorry if you're not that person, my bad.
That's okay, no worries, no worries. I got an... You said it was irrelevant that they called it science?
Irrelevant that they called what science, sorry?
They're bullshit stories about a ball, spinning space ball.
Right, they called them science, now they declare science doesn't prove things because their stories were actually pseudoscience. Right, yes, okay.
Well, I think it's a beautiful thing.
Them saying that science doesn't prove things?
Now, that's what makes it textbook pseudoscience.
Yeah, spot on.
So it's kind of relevant.
It's kind of weird, though, right? They used to say the body of science. The body of science. Now science doesn't prove things, so. All right.
Those sentiments came from Rumpus. They permeated throughout the entire Flat Earth community, the trenches thereof. But it was Rumpus, that's his sentiments.
Oh, I know.
Maybe he was referring to a dead body that can't prove anything.
Well, you've used a pun on the reification. So science is a method. It's not got lips to express disapproval. It's not got a body to, you know, whatever his version of a body is going to do in that example. It's just not a physical thing. It's a method. So that's another reification fallacy. So when people say things like, the scientific establishment say, no. Science is a method. It establishes cause and effect. It doesn't have lips, and there is no establishment of people in a group that qualify what science does. That's a reification fallacy. Science is a method. No lips, no body, no eyes, no feelings, no sentience. Just a method. It proves, if done correctly, and your assumptions prove correct, then it proves the cause of an effect. Or it invalidates a presumed cause of an effect. So validates or invalidates a hypothesis, proves or disproves a scientific prediction. That's what science does. So the Muppets that claim science doesn't prove things, it proves or disproves hypothesis. Hypothesis being a prediction of a cause of an effect you observed in nature. So science absolutely proves things. If it didn't, there'd be no point in doing it. But they didn't have it, and upon being proven to not have it, and saying they have it, i.e. we've got science, here it is, it's a model called Earth geometry, and we go, that's not science, it's not cause and effect reasoning, it's not a valid hypothesis. Their response, their rebuttal, is science doesn't prove anything. No, you didn't have science. Science definitely does prove things, you just had pseudoscience.
So the universities have, it doesn't improve science departments?
It has both science, in the truest sense of the word, people who are validating hypothesis by varying and manipulating that which they assume caused the phenomena they observed. They would be the science departments. Physics departments, dealing with the physical and natural world. You also have pseudoscience departments, like astronomy, astrophysics, and cosmology. Well, all of those departments are pseudoscience. They don't follow the scientific method. All that science is that method, and adherence to which would give you validated scientific empirical data. And they don't have it. They have the observation of phenomena, a light in the sky most often, and then a just so story to go alongside it, which people who are in the trenches claim is science. When it's pointed out it isn't, they say science doesn't prove anything. It does. You just don't have it. For your religion of a sphere Earth. Doesn't mean that science doesn't prove anything, it just means you didn't have it.
No, they might as well get rid of their PhD diploma because it doesn't prove anything.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of heartbroken claim to be scientists. You know, some of the people who oppose us, at least you'd hope they were a little bit more intelligent given their accreditation, but ultimately speaking, they challenge us and then quickly give up, realise they're onto a loser, and wise up that it can only get worse if they continue to fight us. We've seen it a few times. George Musa being an example, he got involved and then quickly turned tail and legged it, and can you blame him? Most sensible thing he ever did. Shout out to MacGyver Institute of Ninja Technology. Quote, our horizon. Prayer in yesterday's comments. Our horizon. I think it's supposed to have the letter R, actually, MacGyver. Letter R, our horizon, who art in geometry. Hallowed be thy mathematics. Your sky vacuum something. We'll make it up as we go along. We figure out the whys and wherefores of the new prayer in the after show. You're
Nathan,
already
you should
keen.
look in the Discord chat and just pick on people randomly and see what explanation they've got for the geometric horizon that they believe but can't prove exists.
I'm taking a leaf out of your book with the pokey pokey.
How about a shameless plug before we go to that?
Yeah, sure. You got a show today. Go ahead.
Did he say good stuff?
Go ahead.
Yeah, in a few minutes I will. Yeah, on the Quantum Eraser channel today. We're going to be going over to Black Swan and an announcement on a technique to get the word out. So that's 1 o'clock US Central, and that would be 6 o'clock your time this time, Nathan?
I think it's 6 o'clock now, yeah, now that your clock's changed.
Yeah, just for a couple weeks. So yeah, today, 1 p.m. U.S. Central, 6 p.m. UK. Be there, man. It's gonna be fun.
That's on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. Be here or be sphere. With that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. A massive thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. As I say, stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
I don't think that guy is Mr. Giggles. At least I don't feel it yet.
He was just blagging. He doesn't even have a mic.
Yeah, he was talking as Mr. Giggles yesterday, but he was baldy doggy.
So he entered with that voice in the live stream for sure?
Yeah, he and QE were talking about how he was not going to get banned because he was going to present whatever BS that he had in today's show.
Well, when I came in after Defen, he was in there as the Mr. Giggles account. I didn't see him as the baldy, dodgy account.
Yeah, there's some antics going on with that whole thing.
He added later on that he'd be working today, apparently.
Well, what I'm asking is, did you guys see him with that name and verify that it was the same account? Because he duplicates other people's accounts. You guys know that, eh? Like he duplicated the Coon virus several times yesterday. So did you guys know how to check for his name and the number behind his name?
No, no idea.
No, I didn't verify that, but he was acting as baldy doggy, and his thing was lighting up while he was speaking as Mr. Giggles, or the guy known as.
Well, so far what I'm hearing doesn't sound very conclusive. He's got a 3-year-old account too. It's like from 2016.
Well, one way to maybe ascertain is ask him about EQ mounts, see how triggered he gets.
Talk about.
What was that, Anthony?
What are you talking about?
Oh, just a guy that said he would join during the live show, but then gave a string of excuses. Apparently, he replicates other people's accounts, and they were just discussing the admin of this troll. So, this prayer, our horizon, who art in geometry.
Hallowed be thy reflection.
Can they pray to R anymore, though?
No, that's why we're replacing the prayer. So the original prayer is all about Radius. Radius Dominus Gravitas Spiritus Sanctus Arwin. Go in peace. In R you trust. And I think we even had an addition to
it.
Go on.
It can't be mathematical anymore either, because when they say like the sun moves 15 degrees through the sky every hour, like where's your 0 point? Where are you starting this observation? They're giving that up.
Thy globe is dumb, your maths is done. Amen. It needs work. Yeah,
Light Energy just put a prayer into live stream.
The Discord.
Yeah.
You copy it into Skype.
QE, did you call it
Go on.
Yeah, I'll put it in. Yep.
Thanks. Go on, John.
I think QE called it a rubber ruler yesterday.
Rubber roller?
A rubber ruler, yeah, because they don't have any geometric horizon and they're making their measurements from that geometric horizon, which is refracted, which is always moving. So it's a benchmark. Their benchmark is a rubber ruler, yeah.
Ah, right. The equivalent of a donkey dick tangent line?
If you will.
I prefer donkey dick tangent line. But then again, I made it up. Bent ruler, far more clean. Yes, bent ruler. Bent being the operative word.
Well, it's not even a bent ruler. It's a damn ruler that's made out of rubber that they just pull and squeeze together whenever they need it to.
Here, little geometric horizon.
Right, I'll read this prayer. I've just read it once because it's obviously I don't want to read it incorrectly. So pop yourselves on mute. Let's see if I can. What voice shall I do this in? Our horizon, hallowed be thine thy doctrine blinds, NASA enshrined on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily pill, and beg us the question, as we beg the question who question the narrative. And lead us not out of dissonance, but deliver us from real life. For thine is the Hubble, and the ISS, and the CGI. Endless horizons, amen. Not bad, not bad. Is that light energy?
Pretty funny, man.
That was nice.
Yeah, that was from Light Energy.
Love it.
Bravo.
Very well done.
Bravo. Hey, remember, it wasn't too long ago that they were going to boycott your show. And now, because of the Black Swan, they're really boycotting your show.
But meanwhile, they're still listening. So enjoy.
They're listening, but they don't have a mic.
Back to the battlefield metaphor, right? If you've got the battlefield metaphor, in that metaphor, a massive bomb has gone off in their barracks. So the other side of the trenches, other side of the battlefield, in past no man's land, into their territory, a bomb's just gone off. Right, that's what's happened. And them saying in equivalence that they're doing a boycott is the equivalent of the guy that was just outside the range of the explosion, screaming over the no man's land, "We didn't want to fight anyway!"
The mess hall with the bomb going off with the spaghetti over everything.
Say again, you're a bit quiet.
I said I liked the fact that you had the other mess hall bomb going off with spaghetti over everything.
Right, in the middle of the night where they're all undressed.
Oh,
I wouldn't want to come in here and look stupid either.
Say again,
What's
John?
that?
I wouldn't want to come in here and look stupid either.
Yeah, exactly. They've learned from experience. They've watched people come in and been made poster childs for stupidity when it comes to this subject matter. So they're not going to want to have their head on that platter. You know, it's more like a spike. They've been decapitated and their heads are now serving as a warning, as everybody like Red Pill Philosophy and myself and Anthony and a few others take those snippets and use them over and over again. You know, they're like the heads on the spikes outside the town. They see those heads and they turn to each other and go, "We didn't want to come in anyway, we'd have only got muted." Okay, yeah. That's why those spikes are there.
They'd be lucky if they just got muted. Letting them talk's the worst thing they can do for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Consider yourself lucky if you do get muted. All it's doing is limiting the amount of exposure of your own stupidity. Not being muted is far more dangerous. That's why you're not here.
Exactly. You got it.
That's Nathan Oakley showing mercy by muting.
Yeah. It is mercy.
Yeah, I don't mind exposing a whole bunch of excuses people have used that are directed in my direction personally. Good. Good. Yeah. Make me your scapegoat. I don't mind. Because all I write under those comments, for example, is, meanwhile, you don't have a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon. Yeah, you worry about my mathematical acumen. That's going to bring back your horizon quickly. Oh no, it won't do a damn thing. It might make you feel better for a few seconds when you press the return button after typing that comment, but that's about all.
I try to sympathize with a lot of them and think back to before I got into this subject, but I didn't act like that.
Well, at best, all you've done is disprove the radius.
At best, all you've done is obliterate our argument. At best.
At best. That's all you've done. We didn't need that anyway.
He's done some great squirming for Anthony as Mr. Sensible. So he's been saying, no, what I meant was, instead of 39.59, it's actually 39.61.
I had great pleasure in correcting him how he couldn't scale. Because obviously, he actually said 39.59 to 39.60. He gave us a mile. I think he's confusing. I'm not even sure what he's confusing there, but it's clearly more than 1 mile in radius to give that. So I gave him the maths and said, like, even if we give it a conservative 10 miles to the horizon, it's clearly nearer to 15. Yeah, that makes us half the size of the sun, you moron. That would make our radius half the size of the sun's.
These people are such idiots. They just dig their hole even deeper with every comment. I love it. You see, we don't need you to come here. You know, we don't need you actually in our presence to make you look completely idiotic. You do it by yourselves. You're just idiots. Sensible ones are going to keep their mouths well and truly shut. That's the sensible thing to do if you're a fundy. Take cover. Ride out the explosion. Don't fight it. Yeah, it's flat. You'll accept it eventually. It's just going to take 18 months, 12 months for some of you who are a bit brighter.
Just duck and cover, man. Duck and cover. It's okay.
This is interesting. I'm just doing some. We're still being recorded, aren't we?
Yes.
I'll wait till we stop recording.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Right, don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. 20 minutes left of show as Anthony just kills the atmosphere, kills the vibe, and makes you all feel like the show's going to end any second. Thanks for that, Anthony.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll just say what I was going to say. I'm researching comments that are to do with a particular video that was shared by numerous ball earth retards, and it had the word fraud in it. And I'm not going to say any more other than I'm researching which people mirrored it. And a lot of the people that mirrored the fraud video, the claimed fraud video, have they removed it? Interesting. There's only 1 or 2 that are still up there, so it's just interesting.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, if you're gonna claim someone's a fraud, for example, I'll give you an example of someone who is a fraud. Sly Sparkane is a fraud. And I can demonstrate that he's a fraud by his own words when he's claimed he's going to do an experiment and doesn't know what a hypothesis test, otherwise known as experiment, actually is. That'd be fraudulent. He's acquired money to do so. Fraud. So making those statements, I can say them very comfortably, very relaxed, not in any way slightly concerned that there might be repercussions. Now, if you go around calling people frauds and you don't have the ability to prove what you claim, then there could be quite severe ramifications for that. Now, what's surprising amongst scumbags is they have no honour. They'll desert each other at the drop of a hat if they sense any trouble. I think that's what Anthony's alluding to. Am I right, Sleeping Warrior?
Yeah. Another example of somebody that would be considered fraudulent would be Greater Sapien. He did a GoFundMe for $20,000 to fly over the South Pole, back up the other side, and land in Australia within a certain, I can't remember the exact parameters of it, but the idea was to fly over the South Pole. And everyone was saying, you can't fly over the South Pole, that's never going to happen. And sure enough, the flight never happened. And when put to challenge on did he actually pay the money, he couldn't and wouldn't produce proof that the money left his account. He produced a chitty that indicated that there was some kind of transaction, but it wasn't proof of transaction. It's a bit like the horizon, proving the geometric horizons, kind of like showing your bank balance to prove the money left, and he didn't do it. I just found that interesting that he was unable to satisfy the money leaving his account requirement to show that he wasn't being dishonest. And that was why people called him a fraud, because he kept the money, it seems.
It seems, although we get accused of the same thing, I mean, while I was exposing the fraudulent nature of Sliced by Cane, I was in the middle of a GoFundMe campaign. So for humorous effect, I'm like, by the way, support my GoFundMe campaign, which is absolutely no way fraudulent. I just need a new iPad to run the show. And that's now been achieved. But by the same token, when you're highlighting people like Sliced by Cane's fraud, it is a testament to the people they're appealing to. The same goes for Greater Sapien. Why would he manage to swindle 20,000 plus? Well, because he's dealing with more, susceptible, naive, whatever word you want to use, people. Now, on this side of the argument, generally speaking, we're a hell of a lot more shrewd. You know, we're a little bit more cautious. We're a little bit more forward-thinking. Less likely to get swindled. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be exceptions to every single rule. But the people who are having money extorted out of them in vast quantities for things like trips over the North Pole or whichever pole he was claiming to go over, those aren't us. Those aren't the flat earthers that are being swindled. It's the gullible ones. And the gullible ones in this debate are the globe heads. They'll swallow any old nonsense they get fed so long as it feeds into their religion of being on a ball. And they'll give up cold hard cash to do so. Well, that's because they're the gullible ones in this argument. The ones that are actually looking into the philosophical backgrounds to each of their assertions isn't them. They'll take the surface level bullshit from whoever perpetuates it, or whatever the cursory search on Google will give them. Whatever's easiest, in other words. Well, those are the people that are easy to manipulate and fool and swindle money out of. And that's what's happening. I mean, I see, again, not through looking for them, but just because they're coming up on the same searches I'm actually doing, examples within the Globe community where they're exposing each other for how much money they're swindling out of each other. On a huge scale as well. Like, not just thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. And you're like, Jesus Christ, I had no idea. I don't keep that closer tabs on what's going on in the Globe community. But it does seem awash with complete charlatans. I mean, they project it onto us. And I've got no fear, I'm not in the slightest bit concerned. I'm not a charlatan. So I've got nothing to concern myself about. Now, while people might call me frauds in videos, there's nothing to substantiate it. Now, cowbell is what we deal in here, and when we call people something detrimental, there's a good reason for doing it, and we'll provide cowbell. It's not just a spurious comment underneath someone's video, you're a fraud. It's not how we do things. We provide cowbell to devastating effect, which is often just ignored by the people who are easy to swindle. Now, that's not going to go unnoticed by charlatans. Other charlatans feed on the ignorant and stupid people. So they go, oh, look, here's a pool of people that are clearly taken in by anything they're given by their, whatever you want to call them, the charlatans in that particular sector. So long as it's giving them what they want, so long as they're getting their confirmation bias fix, they'll buy it, they'll spend their money on it. Well, that, like I say, if you don't care either way about the shape of the earth, and you just spot a load of thickos, you're going to go, I'm going to have a piece of that. I can easily swindle a load of money out of them. And that's where they're going to focus their efforts. Not here, we're tight as a duck's arse and poor. So they're not going to focus on the flatties. They'll focus on the gullible globeheads. Because they're much more susceptible to take in bullshit. And it's true. And we're showing it. And while they fight us for their cognitive bias, other people will notice and go, that's easily exploited. And exploit it they shall. If you're a glowbed and you're listening to these words from me, I hope it makes you feel very stupid.
Hey, check it out. Yesterday, this Mr. Giggles or wherever he is, right? I threatened him. I said, because he was talking smack about scientific evidence for gravity. And I said, listen, you're going to get your chance. You got to come in tomorrow and you got to present your evidence, your scientific evidence on gravity. And if you don't, I'm going to ban you, right? I got people in the chat saying that everyone that Mr. Giggles is contacting them, saying that if I unban him, he'll come in. Guess what? I never banned him.
Yeah. Yeah, the exact same thing happens with the mute button. So 90% of the time I don't mute people. I explain this to Owen. I'm not going to go into detail because I don't want to relinquish that particular bit of magic again. Look it up on one of the other shows if you want to find out what I'm talking about. But 90% of the time it's the psychology that you're looking at. Your threat is what you're trying to employ, not the action itself. Now, while you might actually employ the action itself once in a while, the threat of it is enough most of the time. Now, where have I picked up that tool from my enemy? Not because I need to mute people. Now, I got muted. This is projection. QE went over this once before. It was like, he echoed my sentiments perfectly. And it's like, no, we've been out there. We've been on the battlefield. I've been in other battlefields on other channels plenty of times. The newbies don't see it because I'm 2,000 videos further along now from mirroring those other battles I had in other people's territories. Occasionally they'll crop up and people look at them. They don't acknowledge the fact that it's not on home soil. But when I was on away turf, I got muted and turned right down and talked over and obfuscated when I tried to get a point in. All the things they accused me of doing, when 90% of the time they're not muted, and what the audience is actually hearing is, stop muting me, stop muting me, stop muting me, stop muting me, and it's embarrassing because they're not. But they don't realise it. So they'll embarrass themselves because they're not actually being persecuted in the way that they think they're being persecuted. Because they've been threatened with it, they'll use it as some sort of get out, some sort of claim. We even get future fakers, future, I'm going to suffer this persecution, therefore you should come to my territory, when I don't actually concern myself with debating them in the slightest. A couple of examples would be Mr. Sensible and Red Rhetoric. So for both of them, if they're listening, maybe they're not, this is on the second channel, I can't give a shit whether or not you debate me. But the fact that Red Rhetoric's got a countdown timer for just how long he's wanted to debate me on my open platform that he could debate me on any time he liked is a testament to the fact that he desires a debate with me. I mean, I don't give a shit. I don't need him here to humiliate him over and over again. Same goes for Mr. Sensible. While he's in his little echo chamber making edited videos, taking his time over the take that he uses to explain his feelings while he double speaks, that's all very controlled and very within his parameters. Safe space. Not like a live debate that I offer daily. Does that mean that I suddenly want to jump ship and go to other people's bars? No, I've set up my own bar and open the doors to anybody. Now, does that mean that I stand on the door of my bar going, come on, come in, come in? No, I don't. I'm behind the bar talking to the people in here. If you happen to stroll in and you happen to have a conversation with us, that's more than fine. Obviously, if there's a ruckus, I'm going to take control of my bar. But you trying to drag me off as the bartender to some other crappy bar that you've got running doesn't make any odds to me. I'm not crying out for business. I'm not calling Red Rhetoric out. I'm not demanding he comes here. I don't need him. These people express their desires to come here and debate me. But not unless it's on their terms, because they're bloody cowards. They need terms.
Yeah, they're cowards. You got it. That Red's Pretenderic, is he still out there?
Yeah, recent rumblings from some of his chat trolls. So they come over and say,
Really?
look, here's a countdown timer. Red Retrix wanted to bait you for a full year. You're like,
Why? He just put you on mute. That's what he did to me. Robert Bassano went on his show. It wasn't more than a month when I was out here, and he knew I was after his dumb pretenderic ass, right? And Robert Bassano went on his show, and he goes, I got a buddy that I want to bring on. And he brought me into the hangout, and friggin' pretenderic muted me for 45 minutes. Then he took me off mute, started adjusting my levels when I was saying, hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? No, you're echoing, get a new mic. And he kicked me out of the hangout. Friggin' pussy. Red's pretenderic. They're all the same. You globetard retards are all the same. You get your epistemology from Wiki or from the Discovery Channel. You couldn't tie your shoes without a fleet of slobber nurses, every single one of you. You're a laughing stock. People are laughing their asses off at you. You think you're friggin' you got this Elmer Fudd sophistry. You think you're intellectuals like Rhodes Scholars, and you just embarrass the shit out of yourself. I love it. Keep doing it. Thanks.
yeah, they're getting exploited as well. That's what's going over earlier. You know, your overt stupidity is being recognised by people who are taking advantage. And we're laughing at it.
I think they want it on home territory as well, so that they can get the super chats and make money off it.
So do I. As a YouTuber, the legitimate aspect of earning money from YouTubing, I'm all for. The dodgy fundraisers, that's just fraud. You know, there's no two ways about it. But the people who've been swindled by those fraudsters, that's your own fault. They've taken advantage of you because you're displaying your stupidity very overtly and publicly. Now, we're highlighting your stupidity over and over again, and all you can do is attack us personally. Like I say, that's not going to go unnoticed from people who want to swindle you. They're not going to put their concerns in our directions. The savvy ones that are highlighting your stupidity over and over again, they're going to know where the focus is going to be for their swindle. It's not going to be us.
Yep, it's a sad state of affairs.
Talking about
Bald model.
swindling. I missed that part. I was making breakfast. What's up?
Oh, what's up with what?
I was making breakfast. You said something about swindles?
Yeah, we were discussing things like Greater Sapien, and there was, I can't remember who it was, but some dude went through the whole shebango with, what was the name of the show that had the picture of a nun smoking a cigarette in cartoon form? What was that show called?
Non sequitur.
Non sequitur. So non sequitur collapsing on a whole argument of who was getting what money from where and who was ripping who off within the show. And then somebody recently went through all of their fundraising efforts and totted it all up and showed what they were gathering money. All these different people, Red Rhetoric being one of them. And they just laid it out in a spreadsheet. And you're like, bloody hell. Obviously, there's still savvy people amongst the globe heads that spot that they're all being ripped off and go, look how much money they're swindling out of you. My God, wake up and smell the coffee, guys. You're being ripped off. Now, I assume, I don't doubt for 1 second, that dude that went through those spreadsheets hadn't contributed a penny. He's obviously much more savvy. But Anthony's also highlighting the rip-off merchant that is Greater Sapien. And indeed, I highlighted Sly Sparkane for his fraud. This all started with Anthony explaining that there's various videos that he's looking at currently that have been mirrored where someone else claimed somebody to be a fraud who absolutely was not, in any way, shape or form fraudulent, and no examples were given that could be qualified. Well, those people who were shoulder-to-shoulder mirroring those accusations have all deleted their videos. There's no honour amongst thieves, right?
Wow, was there a number total with all this nonsense?
$87,000.
They were looking for another 50 grand or something like that.
Yeah,
$87,000? Is that what you just said?
In total fundraising for funerals, car repairs, fundraisers for this, that, and the other, yeah, the total they'd been asking for, if they'd have reached all of their targets, was about $150,000. This is a combined total from people like that dude with the funny beard, Pretender Clown guy, Steve Pretender Clown, or whatever his name is, The
Steve
whole
McClown and the Clan McClowns.
Yeah, and Red Rhetoric and a whole bunch of other people. Like I say, this is a side note to the fact that we're saying that they're more gullible. They're demonstrating their stupidity when they argue with us, and therefore being ripped off. And some of their own side is pointing it out to them. Look how much you're getting ripped off by these people. Other than them saying...
Talking about funds, though, please
I
go
found that
donate to my
spreadsheet.
GoFundMe.
I found that spreadsheet. I had it, and I just posted it in Ballbusters.
I put it up. So go on, Arwin.
Yeah, talking about funding and show money, please donate to my GoFundMe for my new fresh air that I really need. Please, please.
Yeah, whatever. Support
Happier,
Arwin.
healthier Arwin for the show daily.
Look, I've got no issue with people wanting support. I do it for a living. I'm overt about e-begging. This is my job. I'm not in any way hiding that fact. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about people who legitimately make money by doing hard work on YouTube. You know, when you calculate out how much I actually earn an hour, it's about $1 an hour. It's pathetic. But people will begrudge that. My point is that when we are attacked for being frauds or claimed to be frauds, I'll use myself as an example so there's no one else getting this sort of crap on them. The iPad that I recently e-begged for is absolutely something that's legitimate, that will be purchased. I'll highlight how it's been purchased and what gets purchased. There's no illegitimacy in me asking for it or receiving it. It's perfectly above board. Now, what we've got on screen is things that people are saying, no, I don't think it's legitimate that someone should e-beg for a car repair. Now, arguably, you could argue that it could be legitimate. If I was in a position where I had a studio that I had to get to and my car broke down and I didn't have funds to fix it, I could easily spin that it was a necessity to do this work on YouTube. So some of the things on this list, you might argue, well, that's fair enough fundraiser. Somebody had a funeral. You could say, well, if they're poor and they can't afford a funeral and they're crowdfunding help for it, that's perfectly legitimate. Other people might disagree. So there's plenty of ambiguity within this spreadsheet.
Yep. I totally with you. No. But people just trying to get by and giving performance and progressing, having noticeable, registerable progress, that's not a bad thing. It's just called self-funding. But what these people do is basically stumble around, fool around, lie a lot, really don't change the narrative a lot, and ask lots of money for things that, barely have nothing to do with it, while they even have their own jobs and all that beside that.
Yeah, but that's the problem, right? It's different if you're asking money because I lost my insurance on my car or whatever the hell it was, right? Then I need money for an iPad that I use to run this show 5 days a week that you guys are all in and watching. It's a completely different thing to me.
Well, a case could be made technically that if that guy specifically had a show where he would be touring around, going to places in his car and then doing videos, then you could argue for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Did he do that though?
Well, I'm not saying he did or he didn't. I'm just saying there's lots of things in the spreadsheet that was on screen a minute ago that could be argued as perfectly legitimate and justifiable as a YouTuber. If it's done as a YouTube campaign, people do them every day. I've done them myself. That's not the point we're being made. If you use a different example like Greater Sapien, where there's a very specific task that's being set out. Now, although we don't reify a model, other flat earthers assert directly to him, you can't do it because look at this model. Now, I wouldn't make that assertion or challenge him therein in regards to the actual argument being made. The point isn't the argument when the flight doesn't manifest and the money's still been taken. That's a much more overt example. But plenty of people supported him and don't know what he wants, and there's not been a demonstrable flight that's happened and proof that's come of it. Same goes for Sly Sparkane. If he's acquiring money under false pretenses, that is by definition fraud. Well, false pretenses can't be asserted if someone's e-begging for a camera and they go out and take a few pictures with it. Job's a good one.
Well, I got mine from you. Got it from Ranty.
Well, no, you got it from Ranty. Ranty gave it you out of the goodness of his heart because he'd e-begged for a P1000. Therefore, as far as he was concerned, if he didn't do an infrared conversion on his P900, it was surplus. So he very generously gave it to me to give to you, or he posted it to me to give to you. And that's how things go around. You had done an unsuccessful campaign for a P900, and then you got one. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, I was, and I'm still thankful for it. Even though, yeah, I guess I'm not a guy that's now out every day making pictures with it. I have to admit that.
Winter.
But then again, the weather's been pretty shitty. Since
Yeah, I was going to say it's winter. You've hardly done anything with your P900, but because it wasn't overtly crowdfunded, you might have had a couple of people. I know you mentioned a couple of people said, "Oh, where's your camera?" But yeah, it doesn't really matter. You will when it's summer because you'll be wanting to get out and about like everybody will. I'm sure the same thing applies to Ranty's drone. Last time I spoke to him, he's like, "Yeah, I don't want to get it out until I can actually do something with it." And it's freezing bloody cold. No one wants to get out and do stuff. As soon as the weather turns, I'm sure he'll be out with his drone doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see some evidence of how flat Holland is. Sure, you said that you were going to do that.
Well, it's a bit tough because there are a lot of buildings everywhere. And, well, maybe, yeah, like maybe in the farmlands where there's just a lot of grassland.
Yeah, just get a bus ticket. A day tripper. Costs you about, I don't know, $5. Travel out, take your camera, take some shots, give yourself a day trip. Bet you'd love it. You're always cooped up in your apartment. You're the same as me. I have to force myself to go out with the kids and stuff. It's a godsend, actually, because get cabin fever.
True. The problem with me is, though, that I generally don't really like to leave unless it's like with people. I like doing stuff with people out there, you know, but just if I'm going to go alone, it's never been my thing. I don't know.
Try.
Oh, by the way, you know this coronavirus.
Somebody kick him out.
You had to do it again, did you?
Somebody kick him out.
No, seriously, this is real world.
Yeah, why? Why bring it up again? Why every time do you bring it up?
Okay, fuck you then. I'll not tell you.
Oh, please tell us. We really, really want to know.
No, it's okay. If you don't want to know, fuck you, it's fine.
Oh, my wife's now piped up. What's that? You want to know? Well, of course, because you watch mainstream and read garbage.
No, it's okay. If I always have to bring it up, I won't bother.
I don't care. After Darwin that poo-pooed it, I would have let it slide. Only for comedic effect if I stopped you.
No, it's okay. Fuck you. It's fine.
Well, fuck you too.
Wait,
Cool.
I'll interrupt
That
here
we're all
and
fucked.
say-
Let's move on.
Fuck everyone. How about that?
My wife's really disappointed now. She really wanted to know about the fear porn.
Well, I might have
There's
a
an
corona
Illuminati
update.
card that has the Wutong.
Fuck off, Arwen. You can't have a corona update if I can't get
Yeah,
one.
I can.
Oh, check it out. Go on, Arwen. Get in there.
One sentence.
Quality. If I can't do it, neither can he.
It's one sentence.
No, fuck off.
A wizard did it.
You have to bring it up, don't you? No, I don't want to hear it.
A bit less swearing.
A wizard did it.
Oh, we're near- whoa. We're almost up to our 8 fuck limit. Can you cut it?
Would you realise how hypocritical it is that I just had to bring it up and now you want to talk about it, right?
No, I just made a joke. Didn't you hear it?
No, we
Oh,
didn't
I
actually.
missed it.
Go on.
A wizard did it.
Actually,
Funny thing is,
heard it.
it's a joke, but it's also not a joke. So it depends on your angle of approach.
Do we need some harp music?
Yeah.
A wizard did it. I don't get the
Pretty darn
joke.
good.
I don't get the joke. A wizard did what? This is another Dungeons and Dragons joke.
It's a spell.
A wizard did the corona crap. He's saying it's wizardry. That's what he's saying.
Yep, chocolate gets it.
Chocolate gets everything.
You're an Owen
Why is
Benjamin
that-
fan, aren't you, Arwen?
A what?
You're an Owen Benjamin fan, are you not?
Yeah, that too.
So I'm a big fan of Coca-Cola. I enjoy Coca-Cola. If you want to sponsor me Coke, I'm all for it. Coke is it. Anyway, I was watching one of his podcasts and he was explaining that they're going to release a different type of Coca-Cola, like a kosher Coca-Cola, for Passover. And he was moaning about it in his way that he does. But you know how sometimes when people moan about things, it has an adverse effect in the same way as I used to thank people when they're slagging me off for giving me an advert. Just exposes my name to more people. Well, the similar thing happened with that Coke. So he's explaining what this Coke is. It's using sucrose instead of fructose. Is that right? I hope I've got the terminology right. Anyway, sugar instead of corn syrup. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, that sounds nice. So I went up to my local retailer and I'm like, can you order in some of this kosher Coca-Cola for me? I said, I'd really love to try it. If you can get it, I'll buy it. He's like, oh yeah, I'll see with the wholesaler.
Well, technically, yeah, raw sugar is better than fructose syrup. Well, better, it's less toxic, slightly. So, but it might change the taste a lot. I don't know what they did with it.
Either way, Coke have made an extra sale. Just thought it was ironic that he was moaning about it. And I'm like,
remember the name given to that effect, Nathan?
There's a name. There's got to be a name for that particular effect.
Streisand effect.
Well, no.
Yeah,
no. It's not. No. It's not the Streisand effect. Streisand effect is where you try and censor something. So, for example, Ireland from St. Bees, right? So, when we were horrified to realise that we couldn't see Ireland, we immediately just confessed it. That was the most sensible thing to do. Declare it there and then. Admit the humility. Have some humility. Now, if you tried to do the opposite and tried to remove all the videos where we made claims that we could see Ireland and try and censor it, all that would happen is that would explode beyond comprehension. The more you try and censor it, the more it gets out. That's the Streisand effect. This isn't the Streisand effect. So this is completely different.
How?
Okay, maybe it is accidental reverse psychology marketing then.
No, I will tell you. I'm going to tell you. I'm just going to see if someone guesses it.
Okay.
I'm just wondering why, if when Benjamin's complaining about it and saying that like it's whatever his reasons were, I'm sure that they were like bad in some way. It does seem to be the Streisand effect if he's trying to like scorn it, ridicule it, like maybe not hide, but
there you go.
Like,
it's not the
curtail?
Streisand effect then. She tried to take her picture of her house off the internet when only 6 people had viewed it. Well, Streisand. The Streisand effect is Barbara Streisand got pissed off because a paparazzi took a picture of her house. Now, he wasn't even nefarious. He's just doing Houses of Hollywood or somewhere like that. Houses of California, whatever. He publishes it online and 6 people download the picture. Virtually nobody. But she kicked up a big fuss and tried to get it removed. Well, before long, 60 million people had downloaded the picture of her house. That's the Streisand effect. Try and cover it up and remove it, and it has the opposite effect. This is different. There is no such thing as bad publicity. Now, I'll put a slight caveat, having done a fair bit of research on this. There's no such thing as bad publicity long term.
That's a good point. Because the context of which you become familiar with something can change. But if you became familiar with it, then it'll stick more. Despite whatever changes you're going to go through in all that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I can't remember where I got this example, but someone was explaining it by analogy with a public school. And they're saying, why is it that the prefect or the head boy is always a complete bastard? And they're like, well, because the little bastards are the ones that get their name mentioned all the time in the teacher's lounge. Now, the teachers can't remember why they've heard that name, because they're all sozzled, drunk on whiskey, or sherry or whatever. Okay. But when it comes to them picking a head boy, they're like, oh, yes, I remember that name. Doesn't matter why they remember the name. The fact that he's been a total turd the whole time he's been in the school is irrelevant. They just remember the name.
Yeah, it's true. So most of the teachers also knew my name. They probably remember me. I hope they don't remember me how.
I think that's just remembering your name is a minimum requirement as a teacher, Arwin. Calling you Thingy would get you fired.
Thingy.
What?
They have to know your name, right? They have a register.
Oh yeah, right. Well, only if a kid would complain about it. You know, some kids in my school even had very complicated names. So the teacher would say, like, please excuse me, I just can't say that.
For that reason, I don't have a middle name. None of my family do. My brother or my sister, neither of us. None of us, rather. So it's just Nathan Oakley. And my dad, who was a teacher, wanted us to stick out on the register. So the only way you could do that was by having a lack of middle name. So that would stick out. Everyone else is at least 3 names, right? In the register, it's your full name. Well, for me, it would just be 2. So when someone says, what's your middle name? Well, I don't have one. Everyone's horrified. You can't not have a middle name. Yeah, I can.
All right.
Why is that a thing out there? Is it popular to have middle name?
Yeah, almost everybody has a middle name.
I got one. I'm using it.
Wow.
And everyone thinks it's a special thing because it's not commonly used. So people will bore the tits off you by telling you all about how special their middle name is, or how they dislike their middle name that you didn't know until they brought it up. Well, isn't this nice? Take it there's no fundies in the after show. Literally, they're keeping such a wide berth.
Because they know there's
It's like they're trapped in a cave with just a little bubble of air left, and sometimes now, yeah, it's so tight with the air that they don't even dare to basically go dive down to meet us, while we're all using breathe equipment and oxygen tanks and everything. And they're basically surviving off the bubbles that come off our breathing equipment down there, floating up. And yeah, it's getting so tough now that they just stay up, floating up there. And sometimes Rumpus gathers a lot of breath and then just swims down here and quickly asserts his reversed world nonsense and then just flees back.
Man, you've got a wild imagination. You've got a whole James Bond set up with them trying to parasite off our excess air bubbles as they dive down to us. My God, this is like a plot of a James Bond film.
Well, it's like we're in
then
a
Rumpus
water
realizes that he's.
Remember?
And then he realizes he's got a hole in his self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Then has to swim quickly back up.
Oh, they don't even have the breathing apparatus. They didn't bring that along because their model told them they didn't need it.
They went down with a snorkel. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right. And then the cave really filled up. We brought the breathing equipment, and we're sitting down there, basically exploring the bottom filled with water with our equipment. And they're surviving now because they got stuck up there from the air bubbles that are, from our breathing equipment floating upward. And they're purely surviving off that up there. They're stuck, waiting until the water goes down again. And no, there's no end in sight for that anytime soon.
Very vivid imagination, Owen.
I wonder if they have a problem with what C stands for in scuba. Because a lot of them try to assert that you can have gas pressure without the C. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm not tracking.
Anyway, yeah, the C in scuba, which would be contained.
Oh right, it's. I didn't realise. Okay.
What
Scuba's an acronym.
Self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. That's what scuba means.
Cool. Right. I never knew that.
Neither did I.
Oh, learn something new every day.
Does Roger MC have a phone?
You're going to attempt to get Roger MC on the conversation. He's never, ever, ever opened his mic ever.
Yeah, but he likes to chat. Come on, Roger MC. Share your pain.
Not going to. Giving my audience false hope.
Where's Giggles?
Mr. Giggles? You in here,
Or
Mr.
Darby
Giggles?
Dog or whatever he's calling himself.
You mean Wiggles?
No, Giggles.
No, not Wiggles.
He's actually up in the live stream under the name Rogue Reflector.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Rogue,
Emma
thank
the
you, Emma.
sleuth.
Rogue
Super
Reflector, you ready for the scientific evidence for gravity?
I think he's just dropped out.
Oh, he's run away immediately.
The proof of gravity, he dropped. That's the proof of gravity.
Yeah,
So
irony that he drops.
he was hiding under an alias, and then as soon as he's called out, drop.
I see Rogue Reflector in here. He's off mute.
Oh, there he is.
Hello, Rogue Reflector.
I'm sorry, we have Dougie too. Did somebody put Dougie on mute? Nathan?
Not that I'm aware of. I've just taken him off mute, though.
Okay. Because I know you like him.
Rogue Reflector, can you hear us?
Yes.
Good to have you. Do you want to make a...
Did Rach just relay the message?
I didn't catch that. Say that again.
Did Rach just relay my message?
Sounds like Dark Star.
Did you relay his message? Righteous? I don't know.
What is Nathan?
Go ahead.
Righteous secretary? Are you ready to provide scientific evidence for your gravity?
There's a matter that has to be taken care of beforehand.
What's that?
Oh, brother.
No, that's fair enough. If there's old business, I don't mind. What's the old business?
Go ahead, Rach. Just relay my message.
I don't think he's
Told
here.
you, no deal.
Go ahead, Rach. Just tell him. Otherwise, I'm not going to
Why
engage.
don't you relay the message instead of wasting time?
Man up.
I don't mind. Let's see where this... Hold on. Let's just see where this is going. Righteous, what's the score, Righteous? Fill us in.
He just doesn't want to get banned for talking on the show.
You're not going to get banned.
You weren't going to get banned to begin with. I just told you that to motivate you to come onto the site.
So why did this account get banned? Why did Mr. Giggles get banned ever?
Anything.
Okay.
I didn't ban anything. I know Righteous didn't.
Oh, someone's lying. Someone's lying.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. I'm tired of
Who
looking
cares?
at numbers.
All right, hold on a second. Maybe Kiwi forgot. Giggles was part of the purge.
What purge?
What are you talking
Like
about?
a
He was
couple of
here
bannings.
yesterday.
Hold on, QE. Righteous, fill us in. What's going on?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Giggles was banned. He was supposed to be banned from the Discord, but he's not banned now. He's unbanned.
We're talking about the events of yesterday. what
About the events from yesterday, he claims not to be that baldy, dodgy guy.
What does the purge from 3 weeks have to do with this? Provide your scientific evidence of gravity, or I am going to ban your ass.
I'm not going to engage on your show until we make a deal.
What's
It
the
ain't
deal?
my show. I ain't making any deals.
What
with
deal do you
friggin'
want? Hold on. What are you after?
I need a promise I'm not going to get banned.
Hey, I'm not going to ban you.
From this server.
But the server's got rules. If you break the rules, you'll get banned from the server. It's got nothing to do with you being here now.
I've broken no rules and I've been banned.
Well, then you'll be fine. Don't worry about it then. No one's going to ban you if you're not breaking any rules. Don't worry about it.
Why was I banned in the past with the purge?
Oh my god. Are you serious, bro?
I don't mind. I don't know. This is news to me. Right. I am graciously given the use of this server. So the purge that you're talking about, I have no idea what that means. It's not relevant to the show.
Phyllis, just because you told me I was part of the purge.
I don't know what purge is. That's why I'm asking Righteous.
Without reason. That's his argument. Feels he got banned without reason before.
I have
Righteous,
a question.
you
that
said
is
that
relevant.
QB told you to ban me on site.
You didn't say that, but you were part of the banning group.
No,
So
you
that
told me those
means
exact words. Don't lie.
Oh,
I don't think that was the exact words. I just said
You
because
want me
you
to
were part of the
screenshot it?
bannings, that means I had to ban you afterwards. It's something just that comes, something you assume.
Did you come here for a ball earth argument, or did you come here to talk about bicker about the server and getting banned and all that? What are you here for?
I'm making a deal. You guys want me to be on your show? You can do something for me.
You're already here. Don't you understand what's going on? You're here. You're not banned. You're here. You can talk. We're having a conversation with you, but you want to...
I'm only here because someone convinced Righteous to unban this account.
So what?
And I just had to sign back in today.
So hold on. So are you saying what? You want permanent, eternal immunity? Well, that's ludicrous. You're here. What's the problem? Have you got scientific evidence of gravity or not? Can we just get on with the bit between you and QE?
I'm not going to get your show until I get my deal.
You are on the show.
I know. That's not the deal. I don't understand what's so hard to
I thought you
comprehend.
said the deal was to be on the show. You're on the show, but that's not the deal. You're out of your mind, bro.
Look, dude, if you really want to, I could
I'm
make
not
up a
engaging your show
contract
until I
for
get my
you
deal.
right
You
now.
already are. Arwin, hold on.
Tit for tat.
You
do something for
already
me. I'll do
are
something for you.
engaged with us. Do you not understand where you are and what's happening? You already are
Oh, I
engaged
know
with us.
for
We
a
just
fact.
need to see
I'm
if...
on the spherical Earth of a radius 3,900 miles in radius, and I need my deal because I'm not going to engage in your show.
You've got your deal. You
I
want
already
to
told you no deal.
you already got your
No
deal.
deal, then you don't get me on the show. If you don't give me
are
my part
on
of the deal, I
right.
don't give you your part.
Let's just start again.
Deal.
Guy, calm
No
down.
deal.
Calm down. Everyone, let me just reason with this guy. Number one, you want to know that you're not going to get banned. I've explained. As long as you don't break any rules, you won't get banned. That's dealt with.
Banned from where?
The server.
This entire server.
If you don't break any rules, you won't get banned. Easy. Dealt with.
Okay. I've been banned just for making good arguments before.
So that's
I
past
really believe
tense.
that.
Mate, past tense. You're here now. So that's the next issue. So having dealt with the fact that you are already here, you're not banned, and if you don't break any rules, you won't be banned in future, can we move on past this now?
I don't hear any admins on the server saying the promise.
Right.
Don't break rules. Sure.
QE, you have to promise me. I'm not going to get banned from the server.
What, my word's not good enough?
No, because QE bans people. He's the one who banned me last time.
Fine. QE, can we have your word that if he doesn't break any rules, you won't ban him? Please.
I'm not gonna ban Mr. Wussy.
No need for the ad
with
hom.
sugar on top.
Well done, Chocolate. Did you hear that? Rogue Reflector. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear anything about a promise from QE.
No worries. If everyone else can shut up for a second, I'll ask QE to repeat it. Go ahead, QE, and then we can move on.
If you don't break any rules, I'm not gonna ban your pansy ass. Okay?
I don't really like the tone. Here,
Who
repeat after
cares?
me.
You didn't ask for a nice
I,
tone.
QE,
So can we move on or not?
promise not
Can we
to
move
ban
on?
you
If not,
for
right, you're a waste of time.
any behavior. Well, then you're not going to get your show. I'm not going.
You're
Unless I
already
get my
here.
promise.
We're already talking to you. You obfuscating the fact that you don't have any scientific evidence for gravity.
Why is it that QE can't even make a simple sentence?
He did.
No, he didn't. He said something
You
about
asked,
pansy ass.
right, mate. I'm not going to discuss this for solid 30 minutes. You asked him to concede he wouldn't ban you unless you didn't break any rules. He's done it. Now you're saying I didn't like the tone.
I haven't heard
You didn't ask.
I haven't heard
Stop interrupting me, please.
I
You
didn't hear any of this
Stop
from QE at all.
interrupting me, please. You didn't
I'm
ask.
going to need my promise.
Stop
Let you talk.
interrupting me. That's the third time. You didn't
I'm
ask.
talking in between your breaths.
Why? You're being a complete bastard. Please, can you stop doing that?
I need to hear QE say his promise.
He did twice.
He did already.
He addressed someone called pansy ass. That's not me.
I don't care about the use of his tone or language. You were being addressed. Listen, you keep interrupting me when I talk to you. It's frustrating. Please don't do it. You were
Nathan,
being
you understand
addressed.
there's a little delay
Why
here?
every
When
time
you
do I
stop
start my sentence, he's interrupting me? Is this all you've got? Is this really all you've got?
Nathan, when you pause for a second, there's a delay, you know, and I'm trying to talk and you start talking again. You think I'm interrupting you. I'm just fitting in when you're stopping talking.
I'll say over. Okay? Over.
Okay, so I need to hear QE make the promise without calling any names, without a little childish tone, and saying the promise in the right form.
Oh, right. I'd like you to get on your knees and suck on my bollocks and give me good eye contact. Will you do that for me?
Okay, so you don't want me on the show?
Sorry, will you do that or not? Will you meet my terms?
No.
Oh, right. Well, then piss off. Then piss off.
Fine, then you don't get me on your show.
You're already here, Dick Brain. You're stupid, and I'm being interrupted by my own panel. You're stupid. You're already here. You're here to give us scientific evidence of gravity, and you haven't got it. All you've got is a nonsense bullshit stream of requests for concessions you've already had. Now you want more. Now you want a different tone. You didn't ask for that. You got what you asked for, now you want more. You haven't got scientific evidence, that's what you're here for. You're already on the show. Asking for an endless stream of unreasonable concessions isn't going to fly when you're here to give evidence of gravity.
I'm not going to give you what you want until
Well,
I
then
get what
sod off!
That's fine, then you don't get what you want.
I haven't asked you. I don't want anything. You're here to give us something because you want to give it us. Or you don't. So don't. I don't care anymore. You've got nothing to offer beyond this load of obfuscation and nonsense.
Your show will continue to be an empty shell of discussion and circle jerking without me.
You're the one here to offer scientific evidence for gravity, yet again being interrupted by my own fucking panel. Yeah, you're the one here to offer scientific evidence of gravity to salvage some sort of belief in a ball. Now, you're not giving it us. You're debating the show. And you're saying, oh, well, it's just a shell of a show because I'm not prepared to actually offer evidence, even though I'm here to do exactly that. I'd rather argue about the format of the show and the endless stream of unreasonable concessions I want in order to offer an evidence-based argument for gravity. Something you're yet to do. Well, you've lost.
I really enjoyed when you put words in my mouth that I never said. That's really classic for a flat earther.
So you're not here to give scientific evidence of gravity?
I'm here to fulfill my part of the deal, and you're going to have to give me what I want first.
I don't have to give you anything. Like, you don't have to get on your knees for me? You're not in any position to demand anything. You're talking through me again. I'll say over, because clearly mid-sentence, that's some sort of Discord error. No, I was in the middle of a breath. No, I was talking, mate. Please don't do that. Unreasonable. Like my demand that you get on your knees for me, not reasonable? Now, you've had what you wanted, and I'm still not finished speaking. You've had what you wanted. Now, the audience, because this is a show you are a part of, has heard that. And now, unbelievably pathetic that you are, you're asking for more than you originally asked for and got. Now, that's not a demonstration of us losing. It's a demonstration of you being a pathetic weasel that can't offer what you've said you've come here to offer. Scientific evidence of gravity and constant interruptions. So all you've got is constant interruptions. Yeah, I'm trying to summarize what's happened here. And all you're doing is talking through me constantly. So what is it about my voice that means that you feel the need to talk while I'm talking? You're censoring me, summarizing what's happened to date, telling us that you're not going to get a show while you talk through me while we're recording a show. You're stupid at a fundamental level, mate. You don't appreciate that you telling me we're not getting a show. You're giving us one now. A failure to offer any evidence is part of the show. But you're telling us that we're not going to get our reward for conceding that we'll talk to you nicely. No, we won't. You're a dick. So we'll treat you like a dick.
I'm still going to need QB to promise.
You're not going to get anything from him, Dick Brain. I can talk through you too. What you need isn't of concern to us. You like Red's rhetoric. Yeah? Thinks that we owe him terms. You think we owe you terms, moron? Sorry, what is it that you feel warrants or justifies a demand of us?
Oh, you took a pause. Can I jump in now? Are you done talking, or are you going to start talking and act like I interrupted you?
I'll just repeat what I
Bro,
said.
you're such a cornball. It's ridiculous.
What exactly makes you feel that we owe you something?
Are you going to start talking as soon as I respond and then act like I interrupted?
That's the same response as last time, you stupid dingbat. I've asked the same question with a question mark at the end of it and a pause, and you've said, are you going to interrupt me? No, you're just a retard. I'm asking why you think we owe you something, like we should oblige your terms.
Oh, Righteous, he said retard. We don't use that term on this server.
I use that term. I use that term when describing retards. Retard means to hold back. Cognitively, you are held back. When asked a question 3 straight times, you reply with a question about whether or not you're allowed to reply. That's because you're mentally held back. That is to retard. You are retarded. It's a description of you.
I think you should be banned from the server for.
I think you're retarded, and it's a description. To retard. Now, you can't comprehend this. You think it's an insult. It's not. It's a description of your cognition. Held back.
Hey, Righteous, are you going to ban him for that?
What is this, the constant parrot of are you going to ban somebody for using a description term that describes how held back mentally you are? No, he's not going to ban me, you retard.
I'm not engaging in your show on the topic.
You are engaged! Are you really this stupid?
Nathan, why did you interrupt me when I was talking?
I'll do what I like. This is my show! So what you want is immunity to do what the fuck you like on my show? No, you stupid moron. I control the show. No, you don't get free reign to bullshit around the server and make endless nonsense up and moan like a little girl with total immunity. No, you don't get to do that, you stupid fool.
Are you done? Is it my turn?
Am I done? No, I've got a show that runs daily. You are a moron. Am I done?
Ad hominem fallacy.
Not an ad hominem.
See why
I've
it's-
described it 3, 4, 5 times. I'm describing how you're held back cognitively. Yeah? That doesn't make me fallacious. It makes me rich with language.
Okay, I'll use your logic then. You're an idiot because you think Earth is flat. Boom, done.
Now you need cowbell. That's called a baseless assertion fallacy. That's a fallacy. You moron. You've just attacked me with a baseless assertion fallacy.
So Kiwi, come on.
What's
Give
a
me little
baseless
problem.
assertion fallacy,
that it?
moron? What's a baseless
Kiwi, come on.
assertion fallacy?
Quiet.
What is that you've just used? Let's see if you understand and appreciate how stupid you've just been.
No, I'm not engaging on your topics till I get my
Oh,
problem.
you're not engaging when you're fully describing something through conversation with me. Like, at a fundamental level, you don't even understand when you're engaged in conversation. That's how stupid you are.
Yeah, this is
Kiwi, you
definitely
gonna
brain
promise or
level.
you gonna
My name's Nathan. You're currently engaged in a conversation with me while simultaneously disclaiming that you're not going to engage in a conversation with me. At a fundamental level, you're stupid.
Come on, Kiwi, be a man. Make the
Name is Nathan. You've just told me that you're not going to engage in a conversation whilst actually involved in a conversation with me. Now you're trying to address somebody else because I'm pointing out just how stupid you are.
Come on, Kiwi. Your turn.
That's the 4th time in a row. Name is Nathan. The one pointing out just how unbelievably retarded you are. That would be to describe somebody held back mentally. To retard, held back. You're held back mentally, mate. You've just told me that you're not going to involve in a conversation with me. Told me. You've had discourse with me to tell me that. Thick.
Be quiet. Nathan. I'm not-
Oh, and now you're going to tell me to shut up? No, mate. No, you don't get to make the rules here. You don't have immunity. You're a moron. You're not going to tell people what's what. You're not going to demand terms here. Yeah, because you don't have any power. You don't have any influence. You don't have any coins to barter with. So no, you don't get to tell me to shut up, fool. I get to point out how stupid you are over and over again while you tell me that you're not going to involve yourself in a conversation with me. Yeah? Tell me that you're not going to involve yourself in a conversation with me, you stupid moron!
I know, flat earthers have nothing but ad hominem fallacies like what you're doing right now.
Okay, give me an example.
You are a personified red herring.
Let's give me an example. Let's see if this is baseless. Let's see if this is baseless assertion fallacy number 2. Give me an example.
Is QE going to make us promise?
That's a baseless assertion fallacy times 2. What a complete moron. So the reason you don't want to engage in actual discussion about gravity is because even when describing the engagement of a conversation, you demonstrate to be stupid by us. And all you can do is tell me to shut up. Wow.
So, ad hominem fallacy, and QE's not big enough a man to make a promise.
You know that a fallacy is actually a response to an argument, right? You don't have an argument. You've just been meta-talking all this time. You're a meta-talking red herring incarnate. Why don't you get a point?
I'm not making any engagement on points until I get my part of the deal.
Which is what?
Nobody cares. Nobody asked you to come here. You have nothing. Do
You've
not
got no
get
bargaining
this.
chips.
You're an idiot.
Got 0 bargaining chips. Why would you make such demands of us? I asked you that and there was total silence. What makes you think you've got terms to have? Why should we give you terms? Why should we owe you anything?
So it's not a circle jerk shell of a show.
You're here talking to us now, moron. You're still in the fantasy land where you're not actually engaged in conversation with us. You complete moron. You are.
I'm not going on your show until I get my deal.
You are on the show. That's about the 9th time I've said it, you complete moron. You are engaged in conversation. You're just not doing a very good job of defending your position and religion of a sphere Earth.
I haven't even attempted yet.
Yeah, we know. That's pathetic, isn't it? What, 20 minutes of conversation, you haven't even offered a single piece of evidence? Amazing. Total failure. Maybe if you tell yourself you're not having a conversation with us, you'll kid yourself you're winning.
I'm not going to continue until you stop interrupting me.
Just shut up.
Go on then.
You're not gonna
On you go. Let's see your scientific evidence gravity. Go.
I'm not going to engage on any topic you want
We
until
know.
I get my
You're
promise.
a failure. We know. You failed to debate us on any subject that you've got anything to make any assertions on. We know. All you can do is debate the show and our attitudes. Attack us personally. We discussed it in detail during the live show. Rather than having any arguments, all you can do is come in here and attack us personally. Demand your terms. Oh, if I come on, I'll get muted.
I vote we terminate him.
Nathan, I haven't even started talking about the topic. And if I did, you would
no
know
shit.
she would get
Talking about shit.
Hold on, let's hear it. If you did what? If you did what? If you talked about the topic what?
Okay, I'm going to have to wait like 5 seconds after everyone else stops talking because there's like you start interrupting me as soon as I start talking. So here it is. I haven't even started talking about the topic that you want because I haven't gotten my deal. If I did start talking about it, you would get obliterated and you would know it.
That's another fallacy.
He's offering us a deal.
Sorry, that's another fallacy. What's it called? Appeal to the future? What's that fallacy termed?
Don't pretend you know anything about fallacies.
Right, I thought you weren't going to engage me in discussion until you got your terms. Seems like you're engaging me in discussion. Are you so stupid that you would actually defeat the purpose of you trying to get terms by trying to engage me? What kind of stupid idiot does that? I thought you were trying to get terms, mate.
Nathan, I know you have trouble with listening and reading comprehension.
Oh, there you go, debating me again. There you go, engaging me personally. So you just got a string of ad homs, and until you get your terms, you just got free reign to give us ad homs. You're a stupid moron. You've demonstrated how stupid you are on multiple occasions. You've claimed that you're not going to engage us whilst in conversation with us. At a fundamental level, you're stupid.
Stupid or just insane, cognitively broken, can't get away from the meta. Because there's nothing outside of the meta left for him. Just bluff.
Why is QB been so quiet?
If we only take this deal, if we only sign the special contract, and that's probably, once you even start saying yes to that, it's probably going to take another 2 hours to eventually satisfy him, and then he'll walk away.
Yeah, prick.
I bet.
Waste of time.
I bet him.
That's all he's got. To him, this is amusing. He hasn't got an argument, so winding us up is all he's got. A load of obfuscation.
That's all he's ever done.
At least Rumpus is halfway amusing. when he red herrings the shit out of everything. This guy's just annoying.
It's all right. He won't engage us, so that's fine. That's his choice. That's his
Even
choice.
Brenda puts in a better effort.
So given that he won't engage
Yeah, I'm not
us...
going to give you any content.
sorry, I thought you weren't going to
I'm just gonna
engage
be
us.
quiet until I get my-
I thought you weren't going to engage us. So given the
I'm not
case
going to
that-
engage you guys on your show until I get my deal. Sorry.
No worries.
As he's
no
still
worries.
talking about
Alwyn.
engaging.
So gravity would be the bending of a conceptual medium. It only exists in the minds of morons, like this dude that won't engage us about this subject. So in his mind, there's this thing called space-time, and it's explained explicitly to the morons that accept this bullshit and reify it into existence, that it's a non-actual place. The term for the mathematics is pseudo-Riemannian force space, length, breadth, depth, and time. But morons like this dude, he wants it to be real. Even though they tell him that it's not a force and it's not real, he wants it to be real. Because he's a moron. They'll accept any old nonsense because he won't look into it deep enough to appreciate just how bullshit it is. We've looked into it, we're not stupid. We know that it's conceptual. We know that pseudo means not real. But they don't know that. That's why he's here, to not argue about it and not engage us unless he gets terms, because he'd get obliterated. Bending conceptual mediums. You can't bend freedom. You can't bend love. You can't bend time. It's complete bullshit. So he didn't have any argument to begin with, even if he did engage us. Not only would he get obliterated, it might bring him one step closer to the realisation that he's reified a conceptual model into existence. The conceptual model being a sphere Earth he's definitely not standing on. Definitely doesn't have gravity. It's all concepts. It's all philosophy. But we wouldn't expect thickos to understand that. They haven't done this kind of research. They're stupid. They haven't got any arguments to actually defend this nonsense of bending concepts. They've just got doublespeak and nonsense about terms they need as an individual. Forget the actual argument and the bigger picture of nonsensical bullshit gravity. There's nothing to defend it. So this is why we end up with a half an hour of bullshit of someone telling us how they're not going to engage us. Because engagement with this subject will be obliteration for a globe Earth assertion that has gravity. Gravity's not a force. Never was. I also like the other dicks that come along and assert Newtonian gravity attributed to a guy who definitely didn't want it ascribed to him. Like we've got to accept some 100-year out-of-date gravity where it is claimed to be a force, not force.
Bet you at the end of all of that, he would have said, well, just drop a pen. Gravity there. Therefore,
Yeah.
we live on a ball.
Certain Cavendish balls as though they're experiments like the last guy did. 30 times of going around in circles explaining that they don't have any scientific evidence that Cavendish isn't science, doesn't have an observed phenomena. 100 years out of date to begin with. Einsteinian rhetoric and nonsense is the current rhetoric of bullshit that gravity is. Conceptual mediums being bent in places that don't exist, brought into existence by Einstein through mathematics and reification of idiots. Alright. Pseudo-Riemannian force space, you say?
Hey Nathan, I got a special joke. You know that song? A horse is a horse? Well, a force is a force, of course, force.
Yeah.
And then
When is a horse not a horse?
isn't that funny? How you can replace it with force? And suddenly
A force is a force, of course.
Except when it's not a force, of course.
Then you can think of it as a force, of course.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. There's so many songs out there that we can use for this kind of meme stuff. So many.
I'm a bit disappointed. Huey had his little cue card up with the scientific evidence ready to go. We didn't get to do it. Good old times won't be revisited. We've got wise to it, Huey.
Yeah, did he drop?
No. Unless you refuse, unless he's got some sort of get out where his annoyance won't be met with the word idiot, he won't participate.
He's a pretender clown. He's just like all the rest of them. right? I don't know where these guys come from, man. They're like they're like a bunch of old biddies at a table, right? Gossiping. That's all they can do. They think, like I said, they think they're intellectuals and they're Elmer Fudd sophists. They get their epistemology from Wiki. I'm embarrassed for them.
Hey, it's the fruits of modern society, John.
Oh, come out of your echo chamber. Come out of your echo. I was out here for 3 fucking years, right? Getting called every name in the book on a daily basis, enough that it would make a billy goat puke, sniped, muted, the whole 9 yards for 2.5 years. Now, your little snowflake ears need promises. Eh? I'm gonna rip your fucking lungs out!
And with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. A massive thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!